Normally 15 minutes late. Plus. G'day, champions. How the flippin' heck are yous?
Yeah, I'm good, bro.
So just doing a bit of drafting here. I've finished these cabinets, more or less. And gonna put them up on me website, bro. Michelle's in the background burping loudly. Occasionally. So these are basically Tweed style cabinets. Let's share the screen. Here we go. I think I showed you when I was started working on them the other day. Essentially, this one's for a champ. You could use it for a Princeton as well. If you enlarge that cutout, I believe. I'll check the chassis length for that and just check that that fits okay, because this would be an awesome little cab for a Harvard or Princeton circuit. I kind of like the idea of a Princeton, but instead of using a rectifier valve, use solid state rectification, and then have a Princeton reverb output stage or a Harvard output stage. So it'll be a little wolf in sheep's clothing, a little thing that looks like a Princeton, but it's actually a Princeton reverb output stage push-pull. That'd be kind of cool. So I was looking at a couple of chassis that could make that happen off the shelf. I think Tube Amp Doctor sells them. So does CE Distribution. Just a standard 5F2A chassis. 5F2. So if you got one of these, right, champions, bear with me. And it's got the two octal sockets there. You could put two 6V6s in there. Use a solid state rectifier. You could probably even drill one in the middle, but you know, rectifier valves are a waste of time. Just put a resistor on the chassis there and you can simulate the same effect, but I kind of like the idea of solid state rectification anyway. And there's enough room down there for you to chuck the 6AT6 or a 6AV6 if you wanted to get a bit spicy. And you could basically have a 2-input Harvard circuit in that, which would be kind of awesome. I'm going to see what that dimension is and just check that. I'll probably do that as a different cabinet just so you got dedicated shop drawings for each type if you wanted to do that cool little project as well. Yeah, a 5F2 or similar with a 12-inch. 12-inch drivers your best choice, yes. Now, I am making a champ cabinet plan as well, because just people love champs because they're tiny and cute. But 8-inch drivers really suck no matter what you do, to be honest. They are sort of kitschy little cool stuff for a little lead break or whatever, but yeah, in terms of an everyday player, they're a bit disappointing. I have made this one deeper than the average bear, deeper than the average. So there's two different champ sizes. There's the old vintage ones, which are tiny. They used tiny little speakers. The new ones are made for more modern speakers, which are slightly deeper and larger diameter magnet. So they've made them, I think it was like an inch deeper or something. So this is sort of that size. You can see here I've got a M.Zuiko speaker. This is a Jensen something or other. Hang on. So this is a Jensen P8R. So that's the M.Zuiko. It's got the bigger magnet at the back, you know, hanging out the back a fair bit more than the little ceramics. So I wanted to make the cabinets big enough so it didn't matter what speaker you used, because a lot of these cabinets, or people like customers, have come to me with a champ or some amp and a driver that they want to put into it. Often one of the Celestians, like the G10 or whatever, in some Tweed thing, and it just doesn't fit. So I've done the actual outline of the speaker here, and here's the big valve, the biggest valve I could find, which is the JJ's 6v6, which is taller than the other ones. But that doesn't really come into it. It's more its position in the chassis and the depth of the cabinet. So we've got about 12mm air clearance, which is good. It looks dramatic there, but remember the valve, you know, it's not necessarily right against the sticker or anything like that. It's a little bit off center as well. But that is to suit this Jensen, which is the deepest 8-inch that I could find. I'm not a big fan of the Jensen speakers in general. They sound a bit harsh and break up rather aggressively, and spiky, I guess, is the best sort of subjective terminology there. But I just wanted to make sure it fits, because that Alnico size is, I think, pretty similar to like the Webers and stuff as well, which are nicer speakers, but about the same footprint. So that will work. Now, I screwed up a bit. I started a cab. I don't know where I got dimensions from. I think I got it referenced from a 10-inch Champ cabinet. So I thought, no, that's a good idea, because your choices are pretty limited on 8 inches. Well, even with the limited choice, they all kind of suck. But as soon as you go 10-inch drivers, turn to New Zealand there, you've got much more versatile choice. You've got a few pretty tasty speakers you can choose from now, like the G10. G10 from Celestion, the gold thing, and here's the ET10. So I recently had a faulty version of these in the, was it one of the live streams? No, I did a video. Maybe not. Anyway, I've got the video there anyway. But one of them was faulty. It had a rattle. The first WGS, faulty WGS I've ever had. The vendor here, the Speaker Factory, Michelle at Speaker Factory, sorted me out. She sent me a new one, no questions asked, after I sent her the video. I said I might take apart the old one and just see if I can find. It sounds like there's some kind of debris behind the spider that's rattling around at certain frequencies. But she was really good about it, and she just sent us another one, no questions asked, so that's good. Where was I? Oh yeah, so as soon as you go 10-inch drivers, you got that, the G10, the WGS G10C, as well as another one. They're both ceramics, but there's a few more Alnico choices as well if you want to go down that path. The Alnicos from Celestion have a big honking magnet on the back, which is something you got to contend with, and I don't think a lot of these cabinet kit or, you know, off-the-shelf cabinet manufacturers do that. So this is the outline of the G10 G10C and ET10 from WGS. You can see it just misses there. If we wanted to make it shallower, we'd have to make it taller. So it's sort of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But I also made, let's open another instance of Python and hopefully my computer doesn't crash. Have I been just showing you anything? No, I've been just showing you my face because I'm an idiot. God, I'm so crap at streaming. All right, so I've done a ceramic and an Alnico version. So here's the Alnico version. And I've done the outline there as well. So you can see it bumps there. So this is the same dimension as this one with the ceramic. So the ceramic will fit, but the Alnico will not. So for this one, I'll have to make it taller. And maybe maybe another 5mm deeper. So if we make, this will probably be the one I publish. The other one with the ceramic, I'm only making this because I started actually building one, and I got a baffle cut to that sort of that height. So if I was going to increase the height of the cabinet, that baffle would be useless. I kind of went bull at a gate because my brother was giving me the rare window of opportunity to cut stuff on the CNC. So I got him to just cut us a couple of baffles, just because cutting the circles is a pain in the ass. And that's one I cut there, but I cut it with the 8-inch. I meant to make a small champ, but I put the 10-inch cabinet dimension baffle in the file for him. So he cut us the overall size for the 10-inch. You can see that's a 10-inch hole there. So I had to enlarge the 8-inch to a 10-inch because it would be a bit silly having a cabinet big enough for a 10-inch and putting a shitty 8-inch in there when you got the potential for a much better speaker. So I enlarged that hole without removing the grill cloth, which was interesting. I made a little jig. You probably saw it if you Facebook follow me. Let's have a look. I'll just put that over there while I find it. So how is everyone today? Is it beer o'clock over in the States yet? I'll just put my memory card in there. How about that? That's easier. Let's have a wee boo. Yeah. That's my disappointed door. So here's the cutout, the crescent moon. See that? And that's the offcut. And here's my jig. I've been meaning to make one of these jigs for years, but because I've had access to CNCs up until like, I don't know, well, God, feels like 3 years ago, but it's more like 7, 8. I've just used the CNC myself, but then my brother works at a joinery shop, so I just send him the DXFs, and if he's got time, at some stage in that week, he'll cut it and just bring it home for us, and we'll have a beer, and yeah, I'll give him a case or something for it. But it would be nice to have a little jig to. You're a trifle squiffy. What does squiffy mean, Richard? Do you know what squiffy means, woman? Nope. And it's 12:44 in Hawaii. 12:44. What, midnight? Well, past midnight. I thought it was earlier than that. Huh. Yeah, so it'd just be nice to be able to do one-offs with just the tools that I've got in the garage, which is this. So I've marked the typical speaker cutout holes, 115 for a 10-inch. That doesn't equate to 10-inch, but it's the actual cutout size to suit a 10-inch driver. And I've got, all the way up to 0.5 meter there because I do furniture and stuff occasionally as well. So it's just a handy dandy little radius jig for various purposes. But that gives you a cutout just like a CNC. It's like perfectly clean. Oh, that's me showing how it works, as if it's not really obvious. But yeah, that's the holes here. Just I use a 3mm drill, and Richard, it means pissed. Your squiffy means pissed. Okay, gotcha. And that's Australian UK pissed, not America angry pissed. So I held off getting one of these routers for ages because my old school brick shithouse one, and finally ate the second set of bearings. The bearing seized in my hand while I was operating it, and it just went like, the torque there from it just seizing. And luckily I'd removed it from the guitar by the time that happened because it sounded weird. If it was still in there, probably the torque would have damaged the guitar, taking a big fillet out of the pickup hole I was routing. So I borrowed my brother's one just because I needed to get the job done that night. He was picking it up the next day, as usual, doing jobs at the last minute. And it was one of these, and I was like, man, this thing's a joy to use. Why have I held off for so long? So I just literally this next morning, I went straight down and bought one. So it's got a plastic base on it that's removable. It's got 4 screws in it, so I just took that base off, used it as the pattern to drill the 4 screw holes, and just used a hinge hole cutter, like a 35mm Forstner bit for the center. And it's just a bit of maple. It was actually a fretboard blank, and it's perfect. Oh, and there's some beer. This is me playing with camera lenses. So yeah, that did the job perfectly. And that way I was able to make that jig. And then I placed the jig on here. These are those metal threaded inserts. Demon nuts, they call them. Before I drilled the holes for that, which is 6.5mm diameter, I just drilled a pilot hole and used the holes in the jig here to fix it to it. And then I was able to run off the inside of that, because you can't use the radius jig on this because obviously the center's already cut out, so you got no reference there. And because I've got cleats on the other side, you can't have a grill. If that was just a bit of ply with a hole in it, when you're cranking the thing up, the grill cloth would be flapping against the perimeter, and you get like what sounds like distortion, like a fizzy sound from buzzing from the grill cloth rattling against the front of the baffle. So there's like a 20mm by 6mm cleat all the way around the outside. So the grill is sort of suspended in midair like a trampoline. So that means that the grill, you can see the gap there. There's a 6mm gap. So that worked to our favor, because I could get the router through that material, but not touching the grill cloth. Not touching cloth, as they say. So, yeah, that's sort of saved the day. But this is the story of when I don't properly plan things, you end up doing like 6 times as much work. So, yay. Anyway, long story short, back to these things. So now I've sort of finalized the 8-inch one. That's going to work no matter what you put in it. That's a cute little choocher there. So I'm going to separate all those parts out. That's the pretty model. I've got to move those lines there. I've just drawn them on the axis. That's the pretty one that shows you the final construction. Here's the one that actually all the parts are derived from, because obviously you're not rounding all this stuff over until it's assembled. So this is what is actually you're going to derive the cutting list from. And the individual parts, if you were to CNC them, because if you try and send stuff with like roundovers like that to a CNC, it'll just lose its fucking mind and try to cut itself in half. It'll divide by 0. It'll launch nuclear weapons. It'll do everything except do what you want it to do. So yeah, everything has to be square and stuff. But this will be used as a reference also for your angles that you cut stuff on. It's not really critical, but because it's going to be rounded off over later anyway. But things like the cutouts here and stuff, I'll detail. You cut them out with a you could make a template and have a router and then just square the corners out, but I just use a Japanese saw and get in there at the right angle, and it allows you to square it up. Nice. Get the name of the Japanese saw. They've all got different names for what they do. But essentially, I'm going to lay all those parts out here, give them the measurements, and you can just go ahead and cut all those bits, and everything will work. The only tricky part then is just doing the finger joins. So I'll draw the dimensions for the 1/2-inch like comb templates that you can get everywhere for routing. But if you wanted to use 1/4 inch or whatever method, you can leave that up to you. So the 8-inch is ready to start flattening out and dimensioning. 10-inch with the ceramic speaker is ready to do the same, but the 10-inch with the M.Zuiko, we've got to address this here. So let's do that. I want to go up by, say, what do we got there? I'll just enable points. I love it how it puts that window right where your mouse cursor is. So that's clashing by about 1.4, about 2 mil by the time you're up there. So we want to go up by at least, say, 10 mil. Give us a bit of clearance. everything's pretty tight because all the dimensions are specified on the drawing. So it's not like, you know, Uncle Granddad's going to accidentally put the speaker 10 mil too high unless he installs a baffle upside down, which would fuck him. But just don't do that and you're sweet. Things like the screw holes for the baffle all line up perfectly. You got a gap there for the grill cloth, bit of thickness allowance, and just a bit of play as well. But yeah, everything should line up pretty well. And from the ones I've done in the past using these drawings, if you get your measurements accurate, everything does pretty well line up within, say, a millimeter. Use a fine pencil. Don't use a friggin' carpenter's pencil that's got a 10 mil round on the end of the lead. Is there any particular chassis? God, I said it. Chassis. I'll say it like an American. Is there any particular chassis manufacturer these cabinets are designed for, Richard? Yeah, all the standards. They all follow pretty much the same pattern and overall dimensions. So you can get them from, you know, Mojo Tone, Tube Depot, CE Distribution, Tube Amp Doctor. Locally, you get them from like in Australia, you get them from like Evacco. I'm forgetting the other one. Oh, Tube Audio Melbourne. I think Modulus Amplification does them as well. I'm pretty sure it's the one or two manufacturers in China that make them for everyone, and they're all just ordering from them. Because things like chrome plating, yeah, we don't really do that in the first world for pollution and you know, personnel health reasons. This Aaron Brockovich says it all. So I'm going to grow this cabinet by about 10 mil in height. And to do that, because we've got angles and stuff, if we just go blah, blah, extend, everything gets all corrupted and messed up. So you might say, oh yeah, that's fine. And you go up 15 mil. But now, if you zoom right in, we've got faces and stuff that aren't flat now. So if you go down here and you look at it solid, you've got all sorts of distorted, messed up things. The faces won't be flat because you've essentially just grabbed that, taken it directly vertical. When it's an angled part, you've just smooshed that face over forwards. So we can't do it like that. Life's not that easy. This is about, with drafting, you sort of need to know a little bit about how geometry works and a bit of theory behind it. So what we want to do is we want to take this line up on that plane. So that means we'll be taking a little bite out of this section here. Effectively, that section will be moving that way a little bit. And then the rest of it, because the rest of it's square, we can think of this face as its independent side. And this face is an independent side. So this side, everything that's dead vertical can go directly up. And everything over here has to follow this line here. Know what I'm saying? Let's go 10 mil. Well, what's our overall? Let's get a nice round metric figure just to piss off all the inch fanboys. 330, so let's go 340. All right, so from this point back, let's just make these invisible for the moment. This is just the outlines. Less stuff to go wrong. So we don't want to make the back taller because our chassis is not growing. See the back panel there? So from that point, we can take them straight up. 10 mil. And you see we've just corrupted that part. See, it's all messed up. Looks like when a computer game suffers a glitch, because this is literally probably what happens when that happens. Or it's like when you're playing Doom and you're in no clipping mode if you're a cheater, dirty cheater. But we don't have to worry about that because in a second we'll make that part valid again. So we don't want to drag it there because see that? That's the speaker cutout. And that there is the speaker screw hole. And that's our cleat. So we want to take this section with us, but we want to leave these points here as is. So the speaker will stay where it is. Oh, we could recenter it. We might do that. I'll see. It's probably not worth it. It can sit downwards. Now we might recenter it. Bugger it. Why not? What size speaker am I using on this one? I'm using the 10-inch. It's visible in the title up here. Alnico magnet 10-inch driver. So now we select the points we want to drag. Don't want to drag anything to do with the speaker as of yet. We want to drag them on this line to this point. And now we've got a valid flat face and a valid part again. No weirdness. Just forget that. I just haven't assigned the texture to that one for some reason. I think sometimes when you cut a part or you modify it, it loses its attribute for material. But this section's not going to be in the 3D render anyway. That's only that unit there. Excuse me. So let's look at recentering that speaker. I mean, we don't really have to, but we can. If we get the center of the aperture in the front between the top and bottom panels, you know, the rails across the front, we go to auxiliary lines. We've already got our auxiliary lines from before. Auxiliary lines are just like set out lines for you to figure stuff out. They don't end up being printed or coming through anything, actually. They give you a guide in order to create parts off. So if I wanted to do, I don't know, just say a circle. Say I wanted the radius of this area here. If I go fillet, choose that, this face, and that face. Now it's just created a circle there. That circle doesn't come through on the printout or anything. That's just for if you wanted to create something, and say I want to create a pipe, right? If you go, God, I keep hitting the wrong button. 3D data. If you go sweep, choose your line, finish there, accept. So I want to create like a pipe, a cross section of a circle. No, that looks a bit rough, so I want to put more segments in. Oh, no, I'm forgetting how to use it. So that's the segments of the actual profile. If we were to have a look at what I'm actually creating. See, it's increasing the amount of segments there. If you go 3, it's a triangle, obviously. And I won't let you go below that. If I was to want the actual thing to have less sort of lines in it, I'd have to go up to environment, settings, modeling segments. I like to set these to like, I don't know, 72 or, 128 or something, say 128. Sweep, grab your line, accept. Now there's more segments. Now it's just using the active pen. So at the moment I've got pen 2 chosen and dotted line. If you go solid line, you have to start the part again. Python's, well, all CAD really has its quirks and certain ways you've got to use it that don't apply to other ones. So say radius, if I've got the set radius, if you only enter one radius, it's just the same radius all through. If you have 2 different radiuses, you can create like a horn. There you go. Get to a point. That's pretty cool. Rectangle. I don't know why they have a rectangle option, because you can just create a circle with 4 segments and that's a rectangle. But same deal, you can change the inner and the outer. Oh, okay. Yeah, so you can change that. You can make a big horseshoe magnet. But But yeah, modeling wise, it is pretty intuitive once you get a hang of it. This one, I've tried to use other ones and they're pretty strange, but seems to be kind of logical. Oh, if I move the speaker up, I would lose the clearance. Yeah, good point, Dustin. I would have realized that as soon as I put the 2D drawing back on the outline. Yeah, you'd have to. Well, point being, you'd have to move it higher until you got that adequate clearance. But yeah, never said I was smart. So now we should have, and now we can move the. Oh, we dropped off a bit. OBS disconnected and reconnected. Let me just check that everything's all right. No drop frames. Did it drop out there for a sec, champions? Do the best I can, but I can't account for OBS being a piece of shit. Drinking horn, that's right, Richard. So let's move the chassis. Let's move the chassis up. Now I'm getting shit off Shell for saying chassis. Shut up, chill. All right, now we got clearance. Now there is a slight round over there, so it looks a bit. This is sort of the outline, the worst case scenario. But now everything fits, and this is like, yeah, a huge speaker. These Celestia and Alnicos are massive, very deep drivers. Ugh. So notice there I've got some gaps. That's to allow for 2 thicknesses of tweed, a little bit of clearance in the corner for when you cut these panels, you want to put a slight arris on everything as well, except for the corners, because that makes, if you put an arris on the corner, the tweed doesn't close up nice on the corner. So yeah, got a bit of clearance everywhere. So the biggest problem people get in DIY cabinetry, I'm talking general, not just speaker cabinets or amplifiers, but joinery in general, is people don't allow the little 1 mil here, 1 mil here, 2 mil here, whatever. And then they add up, and before you know it, you fucked yourself, right? So a lot of like architectural joinery, they don't want big fillers. Like, you've probably seen your home kitchens and that, how they've got like the big, like 1 or 2 inch filler at the end of the cabinet. It's like a same material as the doors, but they use that to scribe into the wall. The wall's not particularly plumb, or if it's a bit wavy, or accounting for, you know, a plaster set line or something like that, you can take it out of it, what they call a scribe, right? You scribe the filler. With architectural joinery, they don't cop that. They don't want to see fillers, right? Because that's for plebs. That's for the proletariat. That's not for the bourgeoisie, right? So they want to have a little 10 mil, what they call a shadow line, just a tiny little 10 millimeter gap between the doors and the cabinet and the wall. To do that, your walls have got to be perfect, but usually these houses have been built from scratch by builders that are, you know, better than your average builder. So your walls are damn plumb within a mil or two, and you've got to allow 10 mil gap to the cabinet. So there's not really any room for scribing, right? Now, melamine that you buy to make cabinets out of, I don't know, do you get it in the States, like chipboard melamine, particle board with a white film on it? That's all we use over here pretty much, but it varies by up to a millimeter. It'll be sold as 16 mil or 18 mil, but it'll be like 16.5, 16.7 or 18.7. Now, for each cabinet, you've got 2 ends. Say you've drawn it at 16 millimeters, but the board's actually 16.7. That cabinet's just grown by 1.5 millimeters. Say you've got these big wanky houses, they've got like 10 cupboards in a row, because the kitchen's like fucking 10 meters long. You've just gained 14 millimeters in cabinet width by not allowing allowing for the thickness variation in the board. So now your 10 millimeter scribe at either end is like a 2 millimeter scribe, and you haven't got clearance to the wall for your doors to open, and you've just like massively screwed up a job. And now there'll be like a day's worth of labor plus whatever driving you've got to do to get those cabinets back to the shop to trim them on the panel saw, reassemble them and drive them back out. You've just wasted like $3,000 by not allowing for like 0.7mm thickness variation in board. So that can be literally what ends your business as a joinery shop, not being that accurate. Anyway, story time over. So I'm happy with that. Those holes look very close to the edge though. Oh, but that's for the threaded insert. So your screw is like in the center of it. And those screw holes basically just have a vertical wall because they're punched so close to the edge. Hey Alex, how you going? What's going on, legend? Well, I feel like do you feel like a cup of tea, woman? Oh, you're still having coffee. Yeah. It's fucking cold here now. It's cold, man. Yesterday was like 40 degrees. That's why I'm ironically wearing this t-shirt. And that's what I reckon represent. I'm going for a wee. I'll be back in 5 seconds. No, 5 or 2 minutes. All right, legends. Sorry, my throat's really dry. Did you guys get an ad then? Because I've disabled mid-roll ads because it really pisses me off when an ad comes up mid-conversation. But when I do stuff like that, go for a wee, I hit the ad button. So, I get 3 cents, you get an ad, but I'm not saying anything anyway, so who cares? Yeah, hit the subscribe button, champions. You want to. Feels good. Get a dopamine hit. So, what are we doing? I'm going to start with the 8-inch unit. Just press Control S. This software, I started on version 16. This is version 23. I think they're up to 26 now. I got into the habit of hitting Control S like every 5 seconds because it would crash so often. Oh, yeah. Richard got an ad. Alex has got premium. Dustin didn't get an ad. Yeah, it doesn't give an ad for everyone, even if you're not on premium. Just chooses whether or not it likes you and gives you an ad. Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason. Who knows how the bloody algorithm works, eh? So, champions, what we're going to do, where do I want to put this? Do I want to put that on the section? I think I do. Actually, where is this section? Did I delete it? I think I did. Damn. Oh, I've got to create a section then. That sucks. I must have deleted it by accident. Oh no. Oh, there is no section on this one. Why isn't there a section? Left hand view, right hand view, plan view. Maybe I just didn't put it because there wasn't enough room. Do I do a section? We don't need a bottom view. That's a bit stupid, isn't it? Hi, Mom. I think we get rid of the left and right hand view and we replace it with a section because all the information there will be shown on the section anyway. So let's do that, eh? Yeah, sounds good. So delete detail. Bang, 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 bang. All right. Now I want to go move that. That's our little drawing of the speakers and that we've sketched out. I want to put the section way out of view over there. I could probably move this one actually too while we're at it. No, I'll leave that there because that's my reference and that's exactly 2 meters across. I will put that in a layer where it's invisible, unvisible. So, attributes, layer number. Put it in model. I'll put it in there. I'll rename it so I don't confuse myself. CNC model. All right. Now I'll clean up the layers because that doesn't have any parts. That's got a dimension. I'll delete all dimensions because they're probably, because I've been moving stuff around, the dimensions are probably corrupted and attached to the wrong points and stuff. So we'll redo that. I might do, okay, so section, this button up here, which is behind my camera so you can't see. New section. This is me defining the parts that I want in the section. I want to go YZ minus XY. So that's the plane you're sectioning it on, and that's the direction. So I want to look to the left, and by default it's in the center. You can see that point there. So that's good. And I want it to project on the XY plane because generally when you're doing details and stuff, you're looking down from the top. Just keeps it simple. Before we do that, just for housekeeping, let's move that to the axis. So new section, YZ minus, project in the XY plane, section A. I'll give me my nice little section lines there. Oh, you're painting a cupboard, Dad. Jesus. No rest for the wicked, eh? What cupboard are you painting? So the linen cupboard. So now our little section's up here, and that shows you all the parts in the guts. Oh, I like having the titles down the bottom, so I'll move that there, and I'll move the section because now this will show up. Well, it's on a different layer, so probably not, but that can show up sometimes in the background here, so I like to move them well out of the way. Oop. Oh, God. You got to zoom in and hit that. Now I can move it anywhere. So let's move it there, and here's our thing. 90 degrees, yep. Oh, yep. I don't want to rotate that again. Excuse me. Throat's really dry. I need a beer. No, I don't. Z axis, rotate that 90 degrees as well. Oh, not that way. That way. Looks a bit rude, doesn't it? Move this corner up here where the Yeah, okay. And that now shows, I think that one needs to, oh, hang on. I think I'll put it against there, which is no. I want to allow for a thickness of I'm going to say grill cloth, tweed. Yeah, so the tweed, once you lay it on, it's about 1 millimeter thick. So now that's showing where our speaker lives on the section. I can go ahead and detail that in a minute. So just to keep the drawings simple so people don't get overwhelmed by information, which I often see on other drawings, they'll have like one drawing that's got like all the dimensions on it. I like to have the overall solid view. So when I say solid view, it looks like the actual unit. Very minimal information on them. So just like the overall dimensions, maybe some pertinent information in this case, like just make a note that it's for the 8-inch driver, and maybe just give them the chassis cutout size, just so they're aware that it's for a champ chassis, because people just give drawings a very cursory glance, and then as a draftsman, you get blamed for everything. You get blamed for the architect's inability to read. So to cover my ass in the architectural stuff, I detail everything. And when they sign off on it, it's like, buddy, if you didn't read it, you didn't understand it, and you thought that thing was supposed to, have no joint in it or something, that's on you, buddy. You got to learn how to read. So now you can explain it to your client instead of us explaining it to you. So I just got in the habit of detailing everything. But when you do that, things get pretty hard to read. And architects are they're like kindergarten children. They just look at the thing that's in front of their face. They don't pay attention to either the whole picture or details. They just say, yes, it looks pretty. Okay, build it. And then when it's on site, they go, hang on, I didn't know it's supposed to be like that. It's like, what? Don't you know how to read? And they don't. So, but they signed it, so it's legally their problem now. Point being, I like to split things onto multiple pages. So the overall view on the first page, give you the concept, right? Warm you up to it. Oh yeah, get the feel for what it looks like. And then drill into the details on later pages. This is a simple one-off cabinet, so we're talking 2 pages max. But some of the kitchen drawings and stuff I've done, they've been like 15 pages long, right? And that's like A3. So let's show you an example, eh? So my mate's kitchen. If you're out there, butters, I hope it hasn't fallen off the wall yet. Poacher. For some reason, all the guys at the training center for Python are all Irish, so we started calling it Poacher. I'm using Poacher, because that's how they'd say it. My Python crap. We'll go to the upstairs kitchen. Here we go. Rev A? Oh no, there was a Rev B. Like, there's often a joke in the joinery industry, or just in drafting in general, that if revision A gets approved, you can guarantee that whoever signed off on it didn't read it. Because there's always something that needs changing, right? Always. So if Rev A gets signed, you almost want to send it again. So can you actually run through this with me? And then they do. And then, oh, no, yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, can we not do that? And I'm like, yeah, I thought so. So here's a kitchen I did for a mate. Very classy, I know. I'll see if I've got some photos of it too. Hang on. I'll just search my porn folder for my photos. 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 We've got the before and afters. Photos. That would have been on the old Canon SLR. I had a EOS 1100D. That was 2019, 2020? 2020. I think it was 2020. Very start of 2020. Oh, wow. Every time I look back through my folders, I realise all the work I've done. This is all back in the... Oh, actually, this is pertinent. Here's a telly I did for someone. Customer. G'day, George, if you're watching. I know you watch. You like to watch. This was Lake Placid Blue, reportedly. But it looks very purple, doesn't it? And that's what it looked like in person. But he provided a can of paint, so I just used it. But I'm making a telly for Michelle. Because she wants a pretty guitar. And it's a double bound, all parts outer body. And I thought, let's do, because it's bound, double bound, I thought, well, don't really want to do anything pale. I don't want to do black. So let's do like Placid Blue with the binding. Should look good. Got a spare neck floating around. So that was the finish. This was a can of, how come I can't skip forwards and back? Stupid fucking Windows, Jesus. Anyway, that was the Lake Placid Blue, but it doesn't look very blue, does it? And that's nitro. Nitro, bro. He's ringing me. Fuck off. And there was the finished guitar. Got a Bigsby there with a short ashtray. That was very hard to find, but that was a really nice looking guitar and it sounded great. It's got the Fender wide range pickups. This was just a body I think you found somewhere and one of those Chinese necks, but we redid some fretwork and it actually ended up pretty good. So that was the inspiration for doing Michelle's one. Michelle's is going to be a solid body. But might get some Ben Bailey, you know, JJ's guitar pickups in there as well. I was going to wind my own again, but he's got a nice set. So yeah, build a nice little telly for Michelle. Michelle's telly. Oh, she just heard that. You like that one, do you? Michelle's telly. Shelley's telly. Oh, now she'll want it inlaid on the headstock or something. So this was all the work I did in 2020. Didn't really do many videos back then. I thought I did, but nothing compared to now. Did I take photos in here? I might have put them in a separate folder, actually. I think I actually organised my photos back then. And there was a lot of work that year. 2020 was sort of the year it sort of took off. It was sort of bubbling away before that, but oh yeah, we've got the bushfire photo. Sorry guys, I'm just going on complete tangents here, but that's why you love my channel, eh? I just shared this photo on Facebook. This was us flying over the bushfires in 2020. It looks like literal hell, and it was. Oh, Lyle's here. I hope you're feeling better, mate. Anyway, let's get back on track, eh? Because I'm totally rambling. Joinery photos. Joinery photos. That's kitchen. That was the downstairs kitchen. God, I'm horrible at finding things and... sorry, guys. Hang on. I mustn't have saved them. I know they're here somewhere. But this is embarrassing. Anyway, let's talk shit, and I'll find them while we're talking shit. So, how you going, Lyle? Shellcaster. Oh. What do you reckon? Telly Shelley? Shelley's Telly or Shellcaster? She's not listening. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I said, should we call it the Shellcaster or Shelley's Telly?
Shellcaster sounds
pretty classy.
Yeah, pretty mean.
Pretty mean. Oh, you want it to be mean, do you? Well, it's not going to be very mean. I hate to tell you, it's going to be.
Telly sounds like, you know, like
pretty.
a telly baby, telly tubby.
Teletubby.
Shelley's telly. Shellcaster.
Shellcaster sounds a bit meaner.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm not printing it on the headstock or anything. It's just whatever you're going to call it. But
I'm sure we can somehow write it on there. Like,
yeah, Lyle's back in action. I don't know if he's back in action. Been a bit crook there, buddy.
oh, even Lyle said shoulder.
Yeah, he's the one that suggested it.
Yes, he knows
Yeah. I cannot for the life of me find these photos. Was it on the new camera? No. Don't know. That's weird. The more stuff you have on your computer, the more impossible it is to find anything. Might have to resort to the old Facebook page. God. Okay. 6 is trying to look for a Korg MS-10. He's trying to look for B key. G key, sorry. Why did I say B? G key. He's trying to find a G key for a Korg MS-10. The original, not the remake. Because I assume they're different. Yeah, 3D printing. Is anyone got a 3D printed model for that 6? If you're watching? He's not watching. I'm talking to nobody. How you going, Sean? How you going, Scotty? Oh, Cold Acre. I didn't see you before. How you going? Oh, Jace is here. G'day, head first. How you going? Andy. Sorry, Riley. I've been just in my own world here. Travis, how you going? Photo albums. Here we go. All right. So here was a finished product. This was the second last big job I did on my own. I literally assembled this and everything in the cabinet. The paint on the doors was outsourced, but everything else was done in-house. Oh, and the granite. So yeah, this was the not finished product. It was still, I think, we still had to do the kickboards because I think the plumber needed access for stuff and the electrician as well. But this was like 99% finished. Big corner cabinet there with a sensor light. Still had to secure the cabling. I think I was just testing it there. Flap door over the fridge. Pull out pantry. That was before doing the doors. That was all the cabinets. This is how we construct stuff in Australia, mostly anyway. This was so friggin' hot when I installed this. I literally had sweat just beading off me. And I had to install all the cabinets by myself over the overhead. So you fix a rail to where you want the cabinet to be. Here it's fixed to the range hood height because the range hood comes down flush with the under panels. And you just get the bottom corner of the cabinet up, you hold it with one arm and you screw it to the wall after you've pre-drilled the holes to find the studs and whatever. So yeah, doing that in like 42-degree heat was fun. That was ripping it out. That's how we do the kickboards. They're just a panel of 25mm particle board with adjustable feet under it and just holes to access cabling and just to make them lighter too, to carry around as a handle as well. That's in the process of ripping it out, and that's what the old kitchen looked like. So I don't know, what do you reckon? A bit of an improvement? That's the doors, CNC routed. That's my brother's gut over there. So this is the design where you pocket out a section and then the V-groove cutter creates like a false panel. Looks like a timber door, but without any of the weaknesses of timber. MDF is actually better than timber. Timber cracks and warps and moves and fucking twists and yeah. And that's me assembling the cabinets in my garage. That's the shop drawings, but I'll show you that now. So here is the kitchen drawing. Literally every part is drawn, even the shelves, all of that. Now for this, I didn't lay the parts out flat because it would have taken like 50 pages, right? what you do is you just import the 3D model, a simplified version, and then you just fine tune, well, not fine tune, but you interpret it for the CNC to cut. Even the drawers, like the draw bases and stuff. This used the Blum tandem box system, which was pretty industry standard. I drew the kicks as old school frame kicks, but yeah, Jace said, "No, fuck that, we'll do it our way." I'm like, "Yeah, sweet, oh, good." I was kind of hoping you'd say that. So yeah, that's the 3D model, we call it. But then when you look at the plot pages, that's shown here. As I say, to get the concept, to show people basically what they're going to get. I've had to remove the fridge there or you'd be able to see nothing. So fridge side joinery hidden. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to see any detail. It'll all be covered up. And then that's from the other angle showing the fridge and the pantry and the oven, the oven, and the island there with the microwave. Yes? Just walk. Don't worry, you're blurry. Yeah, so that's a little island there. You can see we've allowed for the gaps everywhere. And it's a bit hard to see there because the lines have a plot thickness. As soon as you put it on a plot page, because it's going to a printer, you've got to allow for the line thickness. But if we were to look there, there's the gaps in the doors, and that's an open cabinet. Let's just make the island visible. Select parts visible. There we go. All the text is floating around, but just ignore that. So that's a microwave cabinet, not integrated, just sitting in there. And then that's how you want your doors to line up with the protruding cabinet. So all of that needs to be allowed for, or things will just completely fuck out. And over here, that goes hard against the panel because the panel literally gets screwed from the inside of that. So then the cabinet has to sit a little bit proud. So the cabinet goes to the end of where the drawer cabinet front goes. So if you make this part invisible, you can see that's the inner cabinet there. Ignore this stuff, that's just door details. So that's the rail there, the carcass, we call it, the cabinet itself. And you can see it sits behind to allow for the door thickness. So that's the world I came from. So drawing a guitar cabinet is pretty fucking simple by comparison. So anyway, that's the concept there, page 1 and 2. And then page 3 goes into the plan view, and that's showing all your sections. So to show the individual detail of each cabinet, so you get sign off on it. The whole reason all of this is done is to cover your ass. Literally the only reason you do drawings is so you don't get sued. Or so you actually get paid, I should say. Because otherwise, they will claim you haven't done something that was agreed upon. It's for them to sign off on, essentially. Here's the elevation showing the oven wall, and then this is showing all your sections downwards. Now, the reason for so many sections is I want to show the kick detail, and that's mainly to assist me with laying the thing out on site, because what's the first thing you do when you get there? You put the kicks down, you level them up. Now, you've got to get an overall level to all of them, which we use a laser level for. And you've got to get them all laid out perfectly, because if you put the kick in the wrong place and you put your cabinet on the kick and then this ends up too far that way, now the oven won't fit. Or the oven might fit, but when you put the bench top on, which has a small overhang, the oven won't fit. So all of this needs to be allowed for. If you get the measurements of the kick wrong, you've just fucked the whole kitchen, right? So super attentive at every stage of installation. Otherwise, when you're doing the finishing touches, things won't line up and it's a bad feeling. Trust me, I've been there, particularly when working with other people. So here's the sections. That's the overhead cabinet section to show the sizes of the overhead cabinets. There's been instances in the past where people have come back and said, "Oh, my dining plates don't fit." It's like, well, you told us to make it 300. And they're like, "I don't care. My dining plates don't fit. Make it all again." I'm like, no, get fucked. You signed off on it. You can get us to give you a quote to make new cabinets, but we're not doing it for free. So if you go into this detail, now your ass is covered. If they wanted to try and take you to small claims court, you'd say, here's the drawings. It was up to them to know what size plates they own. You know, buy some new fucking plates. But literally the arguments come down to that. You want $5,000 worth of cabinets instead of buying $300 worth of plates? Really? But they'll stick to it because customers can be massive fucking assholes, particularly the architectural ones. The richer they are, the bigger fuckwits they are, invariably. So that's showing that section a bit more simplified. This is also because I was giving the drawings to my brother to cut. If anything didn't make sense, this would clarify it. If it still didn't clarify it, you just give us a call. But that reduces the amount of phone calls required because most of it's explained in the drawing to someone that can actually read them. Was it a concrete floor or a wood? It was both. It was concrete with timber floorboards on top. And that's the next section down. So this is mainly for the benchtop guy. Here's your benchtops. Here's the center of the sink. I sent him the actual sink. So he couldn't say, oh, you gave us the wrong dimensions. You've got the sink, buddy. If you didn't measure it right, that's your problem. I think I actually made a separate drawing for the bench tops themselves just so you didn't get confused, because these stonemasons often they just want the drawing of the stone itself. They don't want to spend ages trying to interpret a confusing drawing, because everyone draws slightly different too. It's like how artists all paint differently. People that draft all have slightly different styles too and different interpretations. You try and make it objective as you can, so there's no ambiguity at all. But some guys will draw just the door size. I drew the actual gap as well, just so it's clear where there is a door gap and where there isn't for the paint guy as well. And there's the next section down showing the base cabinets, we call them. You know, the ones that support the bench top. The ones that go full height, they're shown all the way through. And that's the model of fridge. So I actually have to get online and find the dimensions of the fridge. Visually, it's just representative, but the overall dimensions will match the actual unit. And here's the kick detail. Prior to Jace changing into just a single 25mm piece of melamine. This was how I was going to construct them if I was, because I didn't know that I was using my brother at the time. I didn't know if he'd have time, so I thought I might have to use someone else who does them this style. And here's your section showing the door detail, like the elevations that weren't very easy to show in the other views. And it's also showing the concealed duct work, which I had to drill through. I blew up my impact what do you call it? God. Impact drill. I blew up my impact drill because I was trying to use like a 2-inch wide chisel bit on it, and it wasn't really capable. Still a Makita, but I should have had like a Hilti or something for that. Real deal. Big boy toy. It came good though. Once it cooled down, it stopped making weird noises and whatever. Just saying, because a few bags of self-leveler, good at flattening out concrete. Not really, Riley. Self-leveler only goes to plus minus 10 mil. It's not really that good. It depends who applies it as well. Self-levelers for like massive problems. Ardit they call it here. It'll still be a 10 mil different over the height because it's pretty viscous stuff. There's a model of the microwave, blah, blah, blah. G'day, Neil. How you going, champ? You're showing the detail of the island. Yeah. So anyway, point being, oh yeah, there's the bench top layout that I sent the bench guy. So nothing's really ambiguous there. The only thing he didn't know was which faces need to be polished. So I ran that through him. Oh, I didn't run it through him. I ran through that with him. Because yeah, you can get a bit confused by drawings. So if you're there, in every different trade person, you've got to be very good at personal relations to have jobs go successful in this industry, because if you get along with people and they're your friend and you treat them like a mate and you chat to them like an equal, you can fucking change the world. As soon as you talk down to anyone, you've lost them forever. They'll remember you as that fuckwit they don't want to do work for, right? But they'll still take your money, but they won't care about your job. So, yeah. What size speakers in that kitchen? Yeah, I'm just showing the capability of the software layer. Anyway, back to biznatch. So by comparison, this cute little thing looks quite pathetic, doesn't it? So anyway, that's showing the live sectioning. So now we've got our live section there. When I say live section, if I do something silly, like move that up by 50 mil, and I update all, now it shows that has been lifted. So that's handy for tweaking stuff and doing modifications and whatever. You don't have to go through and draw a section that's representative of your model. It actually auto updates. So that was a big step ahead, because previous versions of this software didn't have that. So you actually had to like draw the section. You had to copy edges and shit. It was a fucking nightmare. But as soon as they brought in the live sectioning, it was worth the money alone just from that, because drawing sections was a massive pain. Yeah. Yeah, everyone draws the same but totally different. Yeah, that's right, Andy. Same techniques, same principles, but the way they detail stuff, the things they draw attention to, and yeah, just the overall look and feel of the drawings is dramatically different, even in the same company, from person to person. When I was doing freelance drafting, that was tricky, because you'd be drawing for 3 or 4 companies at once, and each had their own look and own style. Like even the dimension lines look different. The text, the size of the text, the format they were going to print on. Some would print on like A1 or A2. Others were A3. Some of them, the smaller guys, were A4. So you had to have, like, in other drawings where you could put like 2 sections on one page, you just have to have like really simple stuff, because it was split over like 12 pages because it was A4. Where's the input jack? It's up here, mate. So let's grab all these parts. Well, not those parts because they're rounded over. Grab all these parts. Boolean CNC model. I'll make that just CNC model. So the easiest way to do the roundovers on the cabs, because my cab's disappeared. It's in solid rock, standing on sacred ground. The easiest way to do the roundover on all the edges at once is to make a block that's got a rectangle cut out of it, rectangular prism if you want to be technical. Move it to the overall dimensions of the cabinet, and then fill it, and then use it to subtract. So you can see there, it's like a hollow box. That was for the deluxe. But yeah, I don't need that anymore. I'll just get rid of that. And that's the overall footprint of the amp. The deluxe version anyway. Because all of these were interpreted. I did the deluxe first. And then basically re-squeezed that down to create smaller versions. We built a house with my dad. By the time it was done, it barely resembled the plans. Yeah, it happens. Especially if your house takes like 10 years to build, because styles change, technology changes in that time. You're talking a pretty long time span. So, you've designed stuff for something, and then something else is available, so everything has to move around. And you're like, oh, let's have bigger windows. Well, if we're going to have bigger windows, why don't we just put a French door? Well, if we're putting a French door, well, let's get rid of that load-bearing wall and put a beam up top. Yeah, let's do that. And before you know it, it's just budgets multiplied 3 times over. So would the rounding off be done after assembly? Yes, with a router. I've done all of this with a 1/2 inch round over bearing cutter. That feels right to me. On this one, pretty much all edges are rounded over, But with sections, like, you got to think about what the fabric's going to do when you put it on. So if you round that corner around, what's the fabric going to do? Now it's got like a 3D curve. So you want to leave that sharp, so you got a nice little join there. On these corners, you've got the same old pain in the ass that you got to deal with on the corners, where you got to join it up and get the nice little lap join happening there, which is tricky. I think I've got some photos of that, but I'll run through that. I might do a video on tweeting this one, because I've been putting that off because the camera angles and stuff is a bit tricky, and the lighting and all of that. So I might have to do that at the shop, but I don't want to stink the shop out with glue. So anyone know if the Vox Blue is basically the same sound as the Celestium Blue? Current model is the same unit, literally the same unit with a Vox sticker on it, I believe. For the earlier ones, I couldn't say. I think there's a lot of mythology around the M.Zuiko blues. Yeah, and then you're dealing with the old ones being born in versus the new ones, you know, played in. What am I trying to say? Broken in. Yeah, it took 2 years, 3 people. 2 years, is that all? That's good, man. Lou, I think when Dad built our house, it took like 12. He just did it bit by bit, you know. Do one section, move on. Otherwise, you get good at splicing in little triangles. Yeah, well, I'll just rip it off. There is a triangle required in here. This section here, there's no way around that. So I put a offcut in there and then fold that underneath, because this section here, the no matter how much you heat it, the tweed just won't flex that much. It just wants to be way larger in this section. You can see the way the grain sort of stretches out there in that texture file, as to what it wants to do there. It wants to have a big gaping hole. So yeah, I mean, even the Fender stuff, all the tweed manufacturers have a little inlay there. It's not flush; they overlap it. I think that's better for future proofing, because if you got a little triangle there, it'll just peel off over time. It'll come off. But when you overlay it, and then when you shellac it afterwards, the shellac sort of locks it in. All the fibers sort of stay where they are then. And if you were to somehow pull that piece off, it'd maintain its shape. So offcut does go in first, yeah. But yeah, do a dry run first before you glue anything. Or if you have applied glue and you've got the top on there and the cut, just before you put it in there, just see if you can just sort of stretch it and find out roughly where your dimension. It's a very feel-oriented thing. You sort of got to do a hands-on to really get your head around it. It almost it's almost worth like doing 2 cabinets, one as a practice run to keep yourself, or just cut this piece and do a practice run on like a dummy. That's the most difficult sort of part, this one. But yeah, the Tweed's a bit more forgiving than the Tolex. The Tolex, the Tweed, you can sort of compress it back on itself because it is a fabric. It can sort of compress, but the Tolex just wants to wrinkle if you do that, and you end up with real ugly shit bubbles and all sorts of stuff. It wants to be under tension. So for the ply front and back of this, I've just tried to make it using stuff you can get from the hardware. So 9mm, preferably marine ply, because it's a little bit more stable, flatter, usually made out of higher grade timber, and also less knots, and glue that's stable in humidity. So good for the long run. And that way I've got the baffle out of 9mm. I know the vintage ones was 6, but because we're using the threaded insert, they're like 10mm long, so they protrude like 1mm through on the opposite on the grill side. But that doesn't matter because your grill cloth is suspended by 6mm in midair, so they don't touch it. I put them in before spraying the baffle black because they are metal, they're steel. You see them through the grill cloth. If you spray them after they've been inserted, they're matte black as well, so they don't stand out as much. You still see, depending on the length of the screw, you might see the 4mm screw in there, but it's less obvious than the whole threaded insert being the silver color. I use those threaded inserts on the cleats as well, because they're solid timber. You really got to make sure that you've got a clearance hole. So 6.5 mil for the M4 inserts. Otherwise, you'll split that cleat, and you'll only realize after you've Tolexed or tweeded it, and you'll have to peel the tweed off and replace the cleat. But I just use pine for them, so it's pretty forgiving. If you use hardwood, you have to probably drill it a bit larger because it'll really split. Pine sort of just smudges out of the way. That's a new word for you, smudge. Just ordered T-nuts. Not a big fan of T-nuts. I use them for the handles, but I try to use the threaded inserts wherever I can because they don't fall off on the inside when you take stuff apart, and they're just a bit more solid. Anywho, I'm rambling. It's usual for this channel. So let's start laying these parts flat. Now to do that, let's just delete these ones. They're from the old deluxe. We've got to lay all these parts flat, don't we? So for most of them, it's easy. You can just rotate them. For these, it's a bit trickier because there's an arbitrary angle that they're set on. So to pull them out, I'll copy them. So I want to leave that cabinet where it is, but I want all the parts from it. So I'll move this one over here, and I'll do a thing called position for the baffle and its surrounding components because they're on an angle. So part tools 1, position, 3 points. I want these parts. Go back to AXO so I can see what I'm doing. So I've selected all the angled pieces on the front face. Now I want to select 3 points because 3 points defines two things, a plane and a curve. In this case, it defines a plane. So I've selected 3 points on the units that I want to position. Now let's select 3 points that will define the XY plane. So I'll choose the same two again, but I'll choose this one. Now they're all aligned with the XY plane. Sweet as, bro. So let's move them. Move last set, which is a handy little tool. It just moves the last ones you did an operation to. 9 mil pretty thick for a baffle? No. 9 mil's not thick for a baffle. Most baffles are 18 mil. Double the thickness. 6 mil's too thin. End of story. So that's all the parts there. Now, I just want the baffle and its cleats shown here. So those pieces at the underneath. Yeah, generally for vintage stuff, I won't go thinner than 9, ever. If it's a super or a baseman, I'll go 12. If it's I need more RB, I think you mean G, RBD lighting behind me. Yeah, I've got Michelle's elephant that she painted while she was pissed. That's it. I need more RBG lighting, babe. Because to be a real streamer, you've got to have colourful lights behind you. But I'm not a real streamer, so I'm not a real anything. So I'll put the top and bottom rails. Face panel top. You don't really have to worry about the mitered edge, when you're cutting it, because you're going to round it over anyway, so I might get rid of that detail. Alright, that's those two. Here's the baffle. First message, I make a typo. RPD. Hello, 6. How you going, champ? One other thing I wanted to rant on, but I'll do that later. How long will we be? It's going to be a long one today, I think. I've got some ranting to do. So here's the baffle with some holes. So we'll detail that. Here's our little cleats. I won't give an individual cut list for that because you can find all you need to here. Oh, let's go. Move this. It doesn't need to be 22, but I think I just made it that way. For some reason. You can make him whatever thickness, but then you got to modify the overall size for it. 6mm would be like cardboard. Yeah, well, that's what the vintage ones used, but they also fell apart. Move the base. Where have we got the base? Right there. Move the top. I want to take the holes with it because it's got the handle hole cutouts, and that's to suit the leather handle. So I'll make a note of that in the drawing too, because I don't like those handles, but vintage fanboys do. So I'll include them, but I wouldn't use them. Not these days. Oh shit, I dragged something with it. You going?
Yeah, I'm going to head in kind of to get some groceries
All right.
and do stuff, and was popping by the shop. Do you need anything?
Dropping by the shop, our shop. No, what for?
Who needs a printer?
Okay. See ya. Have fun.
Thanks.
And move the top. There we go. So you can see there. Detail. Oh, yeah, there you go. 3.6 degree mitered front edge. The overall dimensions to long edge. So I'm trying to make it as, what's the word? Yeah, I can't think today, eh? Must need a cup of tea. Unambiguous. That's the word. God. So I want to rotate that one left by 90 degrees. Y-axis 90. Nope, wrong way. Minus 90. I can never remember which one I need. For a while there in Python, it would change like plus minus 90 which direction it went every time you used it. So it was just like meaningless. So we go 90 this time. Yeah, that's good. Now I want to kind of line everything up a bit. So I'll just plop everything where it needs to be. And then I'll squeeze, I'll just make it look a bit prettier. Rotate x-axis. Rotate by 90. Yes. Oh, I didn't bring the screw holes with me. So undo. Copy that. No, not copy. Move. I want another copy of it. Rotate everything. X-axis 90 degrees. All right, I've got the screw holes there now. Move this one. It's all coming back to me, legends. Move. I did use it for like every day for like fucking 8 years. Okay. If you don't grab it right on the center, even though it's in the hole, in the target, see the yellow circle. Technically, if anything's in that circle, it should get selected, but it doesn't. If you select there, it'll just go that way, even though the junction was in the yellow circle. It won't select it. So you gotta. It's just quirks with the software. So you got to get like bang on it. Now you can move it anywhere. Back panel cleats. I won't put the screw holes in this because it's something you can just drill after you put it together. I'll rotate these on the y-axis. Y-axis 90, and then move. You got the other one on top of it. So things may not be aligned vertically. See that? But it doesn't matter because you're looking at them from up the top. So from the top, everything looks fine and dandy. So I'll move these up because it was initially for a deluxe cabinet and all the parts were larger. Oh, Yeah. Take that with a grain of salt, Riley. I've seen his videos. That's all I'm going to say. Right. So now we'll just check what that looks like to scale. Okay, I don't have a title block. I'll import one of them. We don't have our section. This is what we call our plot page. So, yeah. Riley, just, I don't know. Just do your due diligence, mate. That's all I can say. Let's insert a detail in our plot page. So that's our plot page, page 1. Ignore the 46. I don't know what the fuck happened there. It's just Python being Python. It does dumb shit like that all the time. So we go to our detail, X, Y. There it is. What scale do we want, champions? I reckon 4:1. 1:4, sorry. So I'll go. I've got to think about this. Insert detail. Oh, can't select another one or it'll insert it over that. Insert detail. Shit, it's been a while since I've done this. Edit detail. Insert model zoom. That's what I want. So when you're in the model page, that's this. That's your just general, you know, whatever. Plot, insert, model zoom. Now that's inserted. It's a bit annoying, the detailing on this, because you got clipping. And it tries to select the other details floating around. Properties, 4 to 5. We can probably go 1 to 2 on this. Yeah, that looks good. 1 to 2. There you go. How's that for detail? It even shows you a little schlong hanging down. Now, you get in the habit, oh, let's clip it there. You've taken out your section detail. So it tries to stick to the other ones. If you hold down control, you can just do it freeform. But allow enough room for your dimensioning, which you haven't inserted yet. There's been so many times I've sent a drawing off and they're like, oh, what length is the bench? How come there's not a dimension? I realize it's just because of like, there's been a real busy page and I've gone like that and the dimension's like up here and it's been clipped out. So many such cases. Yeah, that's cool. That one's a bit bigger than it needs to be. Doesn't matter if they overlap the page, it clips off outside that frame, so whatever. All right, that's looking okay. I'm going to put my title block in, just make sure it doesn't bump anything. I'll let you guys argue that one. I'm going to go for another wee because I just drank a massive smoothie. And might boil a kettle when I'm there, innit? So you guys get to watch another ad. I get to make 3 more cents. Drawing stuff, it seems my old school pencil and ruler is a lot quicker. Yeah, but it's a lot shitter too, Hal. Send a pencil and ruler drawing to a cabinet shop and see what response you get. Oh, just catch up on the chat. Ooh. Too much alcohol usually links. Too much alcohol usually links a lot of things together. I don't know about that, Alex. How's the audio today? Is it all right? Is it quiet? Is it too quiet? Too quiet? Need to go to J-Car to buy fuses at 1.5 amp. I have a bad case of CVF. Do you guys know what CVF means? Jim Cox, what happened to my comment? I don't know. Is it something that YouTube would have automatically flagged? Did it have a website in it? Because it won't let you post it unless you're an admin. Tell me what the comment was, Jim. Describe it to me. I'll see if I can find it. It probably won't show up. What you should get, Alex, is the wireless Go 2 from Rode, because you can plug it into your mobile. Hang on, I've got it right here. I've got it right here. CBF means can't be fucked. So you get one of these, right, mate, in it. Hang on, face cam. Oh, try Benny Boy autofocus, because I'm a sucker for punishment. So you get one of these. See that? You know them. You're an IT man. And you get one of these. Can't be Farquaad. Yeah, that's right. Here's the receiver. Right, you plug that into your phone. Comes up as an audio source. You put that near your gob. That's the transmitter. Instant good audio. Now I get the DJI. Oh, fuck off with your brand shit. 6. If I get a Rode, he's got to get a DJI. It's got to be better. Fuck off. They both work, so shut up. That's why I got the DJI, because it's so much more superior. Fuck off. Make more videos. Shut up. You should have got Sony. Sony's so much far more superior. Love you, mate. Love you. Yeah. Okay. Is that what you wrote? Yeah, that would have automatically been rejected by YouTube. I wouldn't have the ability to even see that, I don't think. Not my fault, Jim. Just you got to work with the. You got to hate the game, not the player. I tried to write something about poker machines. I said they should be dragged out of every pub or something, because I hate poker machines and I hate gambling, and I think it's the way of sucking wealth out of a town that can't afford to even survive, until it just dies, right? So poker machines should be banned. And it got flagged by Facebook. It's like potentially inappropriate. It's like there's no brain there. It's just a stupid fucking half-assed algorithm written by the cheapest bidder. So yeah, I thought I was talking about people or something. I was talking about poker machines. I'm waiting for DJI to release a version 2 because it'll probably have 32-bit float audio. Well, that's what that has. It's got 32-bit float audio. So fuck you. Impossible to clip. Oh, I'll find a way, mate. I'll find a way. Something about eating acid. Yeah, the wrong type of acid, Facebook. Fucking need to expand your mind, bro. Anyway, where were we? So I'm having too much fun today. It's great not working Saturdays. I might go back to it. I used to only work 5 days a week. I'd be working on Saturday, but working at home or at the shop with the door shut. Saturday used to be a good retail day, but everyone's worried about money and it's the start of the year, it's dead. So for January at least, I'll probably go back to 5 days a week. Have exercise and relax day all weekend. Really, Alex? That explains a lot. It explains why you try and make money off making amps. You got to be not quite right in the head to do that. So let's squash this bit up because here's my notes. You know, just copyright. I have permission to rip off Fender. No one can rip off me. Let's put a title block in. So load title block. I've got one for Evatco because they got me to do some cabinet drawings a while back. I've got the old stupid egg logo, which looks like shit. I've got the new cartoony logo, which looks a bit better. So I'll put that one there. Bang. It's a bit longer, so I'll move this over. Line it up on the left there so it looks nice. It looks good, doesn't it? I think I've updated these, so I'll find the other drawing and update them. But I'll delete that one there and just copy it once I get the first page sorted. Because you just fill in one. Fuck, what is it called? Call it. I'm gonna have to a look at the other one. Hang on. It's much easier to copy paste stuff from previous drawings, and then say you've got a consistent look across all your drawings and consistent. If I say Tweed cabinet and the other one I say vintage Tweed cabinet, it's like now it's like, well, is there a difference? Not really. Oh wait, DJI updated firmware last year and now has 32-bit. Yeah, I wouldn't think if that was a new one, it must be 32-bit because that's the current tech. What happened to the cap comparison vid? What cap comparison vid? Did I say I was going to do a cap comparison vid? Oh, no. That was 6, wasn't it? He was going to show that there's no difference between tone caps or something. Which there fucking totally isn't. Documents. Poacher. Alright, so I'll pull the old drawings and copy the text from them because I know they've updated it. They've got the updated text is what I'm trying to say. I really can't talk while I'm doing stuff. Copy. Share the screen again. Now, it's got another line there, so it's going to paste it over that. I'm going to have to move it up a bit. All right, so here's the notes. Just shit to be aware of. Drawings not to be reproduced without consent. Whatever. It's just, yeah. Oh, hang on. Edit that. I want that to line up. There we go. Check material thickness. Screw location and finger joint depth will have to be adjusted to suit. So when I say material, I'm not talking the fabric. I'm talking all the materials like the pine, whatever timber you make it out of. Allowances have been made for standard Tweed covering an approximately 2mm thick grill cloth. Yeah, the grill cloth, because it's sort of like a 3D thingy. It's like allow about 2mm. Otherwise, you squash it, you might rip it or damage it. Dimensions may need to be altered for other materials or timber finishing. Yeah, so if you have a like a lacquer on it, you can close up your joins a bit. You don't have to have such wide joins because you're not allowing for the thickness. See you, Alex. Enjoy your video call. It's suggested that all screws be fitted with T-nuts or threaded inserts for longevity. Hole diameter may vary with hardware choice, yet trial and error may be required with some hardware. Speaker cutout mounting holes may vary. Yeah, so that's just disclaimery thing, so people can go, oh, you fucking told me to cut it this size and now it doesn't fit. You owe me my free back. What's this? Without consent. Drawings not to be reduced without consent or exchange of whiskey. A bottle of whiskey, and I'll draw you a custom cabinet as long as it's like single malt and over $100. Ah, okay. So the DJI-2 is the only one that has 32-bit. Announced. It was announced a few weeks ago. Largest check from manufacturer equals best cap. Yeah. Honestly, in guitars, just use the green cap pieces of shit. Cost like 40 cents or cheap ceramic. Who cares? The only reason I use Vichy ceramides in a lot of stuff is because the leads are nice and thick. The cheap caps tend to have real thin, shitty leads. Written permission is usual without consent. Yeah. Consent sounds a bit Me Too-ish, doesn't it? Written approval. Yeah, good idea. Yeah. Where's Robert Ludeman when I need him? Lawyer man. Written approval. Written approval. Yeah, okay. Just because it's got my logo on it, you know. Everyone's going to copy it and print it and shit. I don't care about that, but don't go just putting your own title block over it and calling it your own drawing. Because that would make you a massive fuckhead. Polystyrene cap leads, yeah, they're like hairs, eh? Oh man, I saw the messages about that $200 guitar. For fuck's sake, would someone here please buy Six's $200 Jackson? It's a fucking deal of the century. And he's getting lowballers over a $200 guitar. Ridiculous. People are idiots. Just buy the $200 guitar. Honestly, you've wasted more of his time than the margin of, you know. People, man. It's too people-y in the world. All right, so I'm happy with that. So for the text in the title block, go Tweed champ. Oh, smap. God, I can't type. Can't do anything. Tweed champ style capital. Fuck it. Style. This is hilarious. Title. Maybe we'll go Tweed style cabinet. Tweed cabinet. Tweed cabinets. Cabinet plans. Okay. Next. Champ style cabinet. 8-inch. We'll just say M.Zuiko, although will people get confused and go, oh, I need one for ceramic. It's like, well, both fit. It's fine. I'll just go 12-inch speaker. M.Zuiko compatible. Compatible? Compatible. No, I'll just say 8-inch speaker. Should I go 5F1? 5F1 style cabinet, 8-inch speaker. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Project number, not applicable because I'm not getting paid for fuck all. Sheet number 1 of 2. Scale 1 to, I think it was 4 point, we'll go 1 to 4. Unless noted otherwise. 1 to 4 at, have I done this on A3? Probably. A3, unless otherwise noted. Alright, so what's my page settings? Generally, the default is A3. Yeah, A3. Scale of that. Properties, 1 to 4. Yep. 1 to 4. Ah, hang on. Already had the 1 to there. Issue. Rev A. Date. Dollar date. Because Python is stupid. Gotta unfit the box and fit the box. No. Oh, you gotta go. And then you gotta go. There we go. Oh shit. I just messed it up. There we go. Alright, so we can copy those details now. We've done it for one page. We'll put it on the next page as well. Don't want that detail. Alright, so I have to move that stuff up a bit. We can squash that up. There's plenty of room there. Is someone's fire alarm? Don't know. Someone's cooking toast. Sheet 2 of 2. That's a kid with a whistle or something. I don't know. Some of the old Alnicos. Oh, hang on. Alnicos for the 10-inch. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, 8-inch speaker. Oh, no. Sorry. Yeah, this... You're confusing me, Seth. Alnico. It's to suit these, which are the biggest, the deepest driver that I could find in 8-inch. The ceramics are smaller, so not an issue. Some of the Alnico 8s won't fit in an old champ cab no matter what. Yeah, that's why I made this one a bit deeper, so they'll fit. So you should be able to fit any 8-inch in this. That's what your mum said. What's the scale? 1 to 4.5. Oh, I hate having decimals in the scale, but it looks good, so we'll leave it there. What happens if we go 1 to 4? Proper tires, 1 to 4. Yeah, we'll be able to squash that together. Yeah, mate. Yeah, nah, yeah, eh. One to 4. All right. Let's squeeze all this together. We'll change our scale to 1 to 4 so I know what I'm looking at. Move. I like to move it, move it. Move you over. Squash these up. Oh, what I might do is align the text because that looks a bit messy. Vertical. Vertical. Move that down here. Move that up here. Yep. Let's delete that because who cares about the mitered edge? Now I kind of want to center everything. So we'll go center. Let's go. It's not critical, but I just like the look of it. So most of this is just making it look pretty. Right? Yeah, it takes a while, but it's representative of my business, you know? So when you know, things look professional, people we'll be dumb enough to believe that I'm professional. Let's align that with that. Let's line that in the center here. This is just ASMR stuff right now. It's kind of just Zen work, bro. Let's center these. Edge center to edge center. Camera's dead. All right, new battery time. Hang on. I'm glad I have the mic separate now, because when I was feeding the mic through the camera, if it died, so did the audio. So at least you know now that I'm not, you know, the stream hasn't died or anything. Let's align these with the panel under it. If everything looks nice, it's like schematics, bros. If everything looks nice, it's just easier to understand. It's not, you don't have to squint. You can go center, choose them, parallel Y, then center it on an edge, and that works as well. Yeah, I've got the Vanta blackface. Let's move these. Align them with the ones above them as well. I'm really a sucker for nice drawings, you know. Where did my screw holes go? In the front. No, they're over here. I didn't copy them along with the. That's all right. Well, I sort of drill them when it's done anyway, but I will pop them over there. New tubes. Who the hell uses new tubes as microphonic piece of shit? How many people are watching? 26. That's all right. Peaked at 32. It's gone down a bit now because it's kind of meandering content, but meandering content, champions, is what I do best, is it not? Move that. All right, I'll align all the text with the parts. There's a thing you can do to turn off. This is called Gizmo. Right? I think you can go G. Yeah, and it disappears. It gets in the way and annoys me. You can turn it off globally, but it's only when you're doing stuff like this that you accidentally click it unless you zoom right in and pick that point. Sometimes I like to disable it just to get it out of the way. So move that up there. Move this up here. Now we should have room for our title block. Let's see how that is. I'll just hit save in case it crashes. There we go. It's a bit nicer, but we've lost our text up the top. So let's look at that. No real need for it to be that high. We've got to dimension it yet, but it's not, the parts aren't very complex. So there's not a lot of dimensioning required there. Move these up a bit. Let's align the top. Beautiful. Nice little neat and tidy layout, champions. Showing the angles you got to cut, 3.6 degrees. It's just what it works out to. Inkscape. It ain't Inkscape, Seth. It's on the thumbnail. It's Python. It's on the title of the video, bro. I think it is anyway. Is it? Oh no, it's not. Sorry. Sunday morning coffee, live chat, and cabinet drafting. Yeah, so it's a software package called PythaCAD or Python 3D CAD. Very expensive. So yeah, don't try and buy it because you'll have a heart attack. Face needs nudging. What, my face needs nudging? What, with a brick? What face needs nudging? Lou? Lou? Oh, this bottom one. Align the bottom edge. Yeah, I agree. Face panel bottom. Boink. 4.6 mil, Lou. Hey, Scotty. Watching from the hotel pre-gig. Downloaded that Princeton cab PDF. Good shit. Brilliant, mate. We're lucky bastards to be given such bang on build guides. Yeah, well, that's what I want. Is all the other drawings didn't have cut lists. They were vague. Didn't have things like speaker layouts to know whether things would fit. I wanted drawings that you can be very confident when you start cutting them that everything's going to work. The second line under face panel. This line of text. Yeah, it's center aligned the text. All right, I think we're good. We can go ahead and dimension that now. So dimensions, check your properties because I might have been drawing for someone else. Default, yeah, so that's different formatting. So if I go to do dimension, now it looks different. All the others, see what I'm talking about with the drawing styles? That's architectural notation. We don't want that. I want this style. Very simple, small, but it's on A3. And it's just nice and neat. Small reference lines. I forget what they're called. Strikes, something. How does one decide on cabinet dimensions to get the best sound out of a cab? Make it as big as possible, Paul. If you're talking best sound, are you talking bass response? Because in that case, you want a larger cab. But it depends on the driver too. And you know, there is EQ as well. Got to do a massive burp. Hang on. There we go. Yeah, Paul. It depends on the style of music and everything. So the cab design's got a lot to do with it, and the materials. So like you know, a modern metal style cabinet will have a closed back and it will be like 18mm birch ply or something and pretty firm construction, just so you can get that chunk without it like rattling and resonating along. But that also means that you get like a small beam of sound at the front. It doesn't fill the room like an open back cab does. So blues and stuff, you kind of like the 3D sort of, but you're not doing the chunk. So very technical description, I know. But 3D, you get more of a 3D sense. It fills the room a bit because there is sound emanating from the back of the cabinet as well. As it's more of a like a sort of wider flame of sound coming out the front, I guess you could say too. Go Bentley micro station for large sewer systems. Wow, the regular drafting stuff is expensive, but the sewer system program lease at less than $2 million a year. $2 million a year. Fuck. But you got to look at the return on investment, you know. This software was worth, I think it was $19,000 when I purchased it. So yeah, not cheap. But it paid itself off in like 2 months. So whatever. And after that, it was all profit. Drawing with this program after purchasing is what enabled me to open the guitar shop. Let's put it that way. Had no overheads back then. It's good times. I didn't know it at the time, but it was good times. Didn't feel like good times, but it was. Now what I reckon? I reckon we should make those cleats 19 mil. Because then you can use the same material that you're going to have as offcuts anyway. Just run some offcuts through the thicknesser. Well, you could do it either way. 22 is probably a bit better because your staples won't split it. I don't know. I'm splitting hairs, mate. Let's just say 22. You can change it if you want. It's not critical. Yeah, 2D and monochrome. Kind of want another coffee, eh? Just had a cup of tea, but it's just not really hitting like a coffee does. Anyway, I'll what I like to do with the dimensioning, we'll grab this one because I was ranting. You go individual properties, individual, yes. Select. This is the properties I want. It's quite a bit in there. You can make it round off at certain decimals, make it round off at 1 decimal, but I'll make it round off at 0 because a lot of this was dealing from inch standard. I'll make it 1 decimal place for the fingers because they're a ½ inch, so 12.7 mil. But I'll make this the default. Make default, yes. All right, so now when I go like so, it's the same look as that one. And we'll just check it on the plot page, make sure it's not tiny or something. That's adequate, 115. Because there is going to be some detail around this stuff as well. So if we go too big here, when we try and do the more complex parts, it's going to be too dense, just like me. Oh, we still don't have our text there, so I'll move this text down a bit. And I'll move the whole detail down a bit. There he is. Doesn't need to be that big, doesn't matter anyway because nothing's out there, but I like to keep it tight-ish because every now and then you'll throw a piece over there to dimension it or something and it'll be peeping over here saying, hello. No shipping to US for $200 Jackson, yeah. Can you include shipping on that one and a case and no extra money? I kind of just want to buy the Jackson just so I don't have to hear about it anymore. How are the frets on it? 6? Are they good frets? Because at that price, I can't believe someone hasn't just gone, oh yeah, fucking hell, here you go. So this is sort of serving as a cut list as well. Let's give them the sizes that you want to cut it at overall. So to do that, I'll go auxiliary lines, 3D data. Oh, hang on. Let's go parallel, 0 millimeters, parallel, 0 millimeters. Same here. Now this is going to give you the overall size that you got to cut the piece at before you start doing any other secondary machining to it. So let's go 3D data. Let's change our pen type to show that it's a detail. It's not actually part of the thing. We'll go edge this way, accept. So now that's showing. It'll just give us a point to dimension because you can't just dimension thin air. There's got to be a point that the dimension clicks to. So now we've got that size. And when I do the bottom dimensioning, you'll have the other size as well. Let's set those screw sizes in from the end, because it's a nicer reference point than referencing to another cutout. It just gives you more room for error there. Okay, here, 36mm from the back. Now we want to know the rough radius of that corner. So we'll go to radius, select 3 points. Oh, you don't have to anymore. That was an earlier version. You had to select 3 points. Put it there, bud. Put it there, pal. 32mm radius. You could go tighter if you want. I find the bigger radius looks a bit more pro. Where you see the home gamers when they make these things, and often that's just like square, and it just looks a bit shit. "28 watches and 22 thumbs. That's pretty good, man. It's pretty rare that everyone gives it a like. Donatello. How? Speaking of sewers, Donatello knows all about sewers. He's heard it all before. All right, we've got to do the same over here, although it's just a mirror version of that, but just to show, just to idiot proof it, you know, sort of, if that's possible in this day and age. I'm starting to get my Python Mojo back, legends. I've got to use it more. It's sitting here not earning me money, and that sucks. I was going to draw guitars in it, but I don't know if I want to build guitars. It seems like a waste of fucking time, to be honest. I build guitars for myself for fun. It's the same reason I kind of build amps, you know. Not exactly profitable unless you build a fuck ton of them, and that means you've got to restructure your business to do just that. But it's damn fun and satisfying to build them. I still get a massive kick out of woodworking, and I think I always will. It's just a cool chill out thing to do at home. It's nice. And when you can do it really well, it's much more satisfying. Not to toot my own horn, but I've been in it for a long time, and try to do things properly. All right, so we've got our radius of our cutout, and if you'll remember, champions, when I was looking at my video card, as well as my disappointed door, it's the paint on my back door. I've got to repaint it. You'll notice here we've got 92 and 115. So why have we got 89? Because 89, 92 was to suit a Celestian, I think. And 89 could probably be a little bit bigger, but it's not going to hurt anything. All it is just sits a little bit in from the seal there, you know. It's not critical. If anything, it's good because you've got a bit of a wider section there, so the threaded insert won't possibly split that section out. Smelly down here. That's what your mum said. Finger bang joints. No. We're getting dirty, boys. Princeton end of video today? No. Are you talking about the Princeton back there? Have I done a video on it yet? No, not yet. Build 10 amps for 6K a year. Bit of extra pocket change. Look, I'm building a couple, but you got to move them and sell them and You know, they've got to sell reasonably quickly. You can't be sitting on them for too long. The problem with having a shaved head is that shit comes off the headphone strap because your head's like sandpaper on it. These are about 10 years old, fair enough. Having been an electrician, a lot of stuff underground and knowing where all the existing stuff is before you start laying out your plans is a huge plus. Yeah, ignore the engineer's plans. They haven't been down there. They just draw what's ideal. Ideally. So anyway, we'll draw that. I might change that diameter slightly. Yeah. Let's do that. Let's just go halfway between, eh? Let's just make it 90. So to do that, part tools 2, change radius. This is another tool that only just came in recent versions. So 90. There we go. Now I want to show the diameter because think about someone that's laying this out at home. Are you going to just provide a grid coordinate, or are you going to provide like a sort of theoretical like radius of the screws? So I think I'll do the latter because you can lay it out with a compass that way, and you can also, it's easier to double check your particular driver will suit it because different drivers have slightly different screw centers. Generally the elongated holes are enough that you can just cop it. I've drawn these for WGS drivers because that's what I use, but every other driver, Celestian and Jensen, that I've checked has worked. It might be the other end of the elongated hole, but it will work. A lot of people will probably build this with just using wood screws instead of threaded inserts or T-nuts, so they'll be drilling their own hole to suit whatever hardware they're using. So, oh, that's another point. Who was it saying before that it's a bit thin using 9mm for a baffle? Yeah, it is. If you're going to use a wood screw into it, you want to use at least 18mm for that, or 15 or 18mm. So you've got something for the screw to bite into. Otherwise, you'll just strip the hole and speaker will fall out, especially with vibration. But this is designed for threaded inserts or T-nuts, so that's why the 6 and 9mm you can get away with it. Those are called box joints, not finger joints. Okay. I don't care. Let's have a look. What's the common vernacular? Finger joint. Finger join. I'm getting anatomy. Yeah, so the finger join is like when you see the end grain joined timber shit. Don't know, man. It's pretty well 50-50 when I Google it. But when I go box joints, you get dovetails as well. I don't know. Have I actually said finger joint anywhere on the drawing? Does it matter? Can you use your eyes and know what it is? I think you can. You'll be right. You'll live. All right. So what I want to do is show the reference to these holes and how they're distributed. Richard, good night, Dave, folks. Better stop drinking scotch and hit the hay. Interesting stream. Like to get in touch about my cabinet designs. What for? Do you want a custom cabinet? T-nuts are beefy. We use them for indoor climbing walls to bolt the holes on. Yeah, they're beefy as. They can fall out and sometimes be pretty inconvenient to fish out if it gets stuck down in the grill cloth or whatever. When you've got the T-nuts in there and you're putting the screw in and it pops the T-nut out, you got to take the speaker back out and fuck around and fish it out again. Finger bang joints. You could build a $6,000 amp and take a picture of Joe Bonamassa playing it. Yeah, because Joe Bonamassa will play it for 5 seconds and go, and put it in his cupboard and it'll never come out again. And everyone's like, oh, he uses it. Must be good. Yeah, but he's got disposable fucking income. Do you? Do you care if you buy an amp and it's shit? Anyway, that's Rant Town. I'm fucking so sick of that shit. Anyway, next minute is a YouTube video of someone dismantling it, and you reply and you reply on their video saying it's a copy has been tampered with. It has not been tampered with. So what I want to do is fillet to find the center of these circles. Bang. We need 3 of them to define a curve. Remember what I said before? 3 points defines both a triangle. Also, a triangle is by definition a flat plane. And it also defines a curve. You can't define a curve with 2 points. You need 3. 3 points in the 3D space will define a flat face and a flat curve. Messes are good amps. Go. Buy one. I don't care. Fill it. 1, 2, 3 centers. Now that's the center of our screws. If we go 3D data, we've still got our dotted line there selected for our pen. We'll go edges. Except, there's not enough segments there. We'll try again. I think we can do better than that. Environment settings. We'll go 72. If you're drawing something really big, you'll often have to set that to some astronomical figure. Say, I did a high-rise building banquet seat in North Sydney, and the wall, it was glass curved on the face. It's the big building you see when you go over the bridge. There was a banquet seat against that window, and the glass was curved, and it was across like a 30-meter length. It was huge. So I had to make a big curved banquet seat. So I had to set the segments to like, because that segment setting up here, that's how many segments there'd be in a full circle. So when I draw a full circle, is 72 segments. But if you're drawing an arc that's like a radius of 300 meters and it goes 30 meters long, you might only have like 3 segments in that, right? And for you to make a curve on the CNC or whatever, it'll just interpret that as like straight lines. It won't give you a nice curve. It'll be very inaccurate. So you've got to set that segment figure to some astrological figure, like in the thousands, to give you enough segments to make a continuous structure that won't, that will make sense, be within tolerance. Yeah, imagine squeegeeing curved windows. How would you do that? You have to go crossways, I guess. I'm sure they've got a method. Okay. So then we'll go edges, except that looks a bit better. You can see those segments are lined up, because when I cut the speaker hole out, that would have been set at 72 segments as well. And that's what you want. This is ways that you can really fuck your drawing up if you do stuff without thinking about what's been done prior. So if I was to say that was a cabinet and I was to make a curved piece of ply there or something as like a front face of a cabinet or a whatever, if you didn't have the front and back like as a radial sort of line, shit wouldn't line up. It would be a very corrupt and hard to interpret drawing, and when you tried to generate CNC files from that, it just wouldn't work, and you'd have to go back to square one and redraw it again. Ask me how I know. And that's pretty much universal across all. It's just like the geometry that you need to have like good and lined up to make stuff work. I like the brass threaded inserts first, or furniture T-nuts second, with threaded studs glued into them. Ooh, yeah, I'm not a fan of using any thread locker on speaker mounting. Yeah, that's been a massive fucking pain in the past. I've had to extract screws and all sorts of stuff. You just want a spring washer and or if you've got the fender style studs that actually thread into the baffle, just use a nylock nut. Even that's a bit of overkill, you know. Where's that baffle? I'll show you the ones I use anyway. Hang on. No, that's not really them. We got the furniture ones, but they're kind of chunky. Sort of like this, but smaller. Hang on, I'll go M4. You can use M4 or M5. I like using M4 for speakers because a little bit more tolerance there. If you use an M5, it's like really tight in the hole. God, immature jokes again. Is that the one? Sort of like this. This one, it's behind my camera. Sort of like these things anyway, right? That's a long one, but yeah, you can get little shorter ones. I don't like the toothed ones. I like the ones with a continuous thread. They tend to munch up the hole a bit. They're good for end grain because it's actually got a cut into it. So like knockdown fittings for beds and stuff. But when you're going in to ply, they just rip fuck out of it. So I like these ones because they go in rather smoothly. But you got to make sure that you cut or drill a hole that's the size of the shank, plus about another 0.5 mil, or you might try and split the plywood. So there you go, legends. All right, so we'll do the radius of the screw centers on the holes. Radius 89 and 99. Oh, come on, it should be 100, shouldn't it? Let's just change it to 100. We'll just fudge it. No, I'll leave it there. 99. Okay, 98.5, because that's what it's come down from inches, inch standard. And then we'll go dimension points. That could be interpreted two ways, 9 or 6. So let's go horizontal. Because I've done a rotate copy, the holes aren't lined up with the axes. So I'll just go that. There you go. That's a bit less ambiguous, isn't it? Then we want to know the hole center. It's in the center of the cabinet. And the vertical center. It's not in the center of the cabinet. So it's 151 all around this side. And then the bottom, it's shoved down to give clearance to the amp. Straight pull across, but it leaves ugly ass lines on the window. Yeah, I guess so. Always look like crap when we've... Oh, you do window cleaning. Are you serious? Climber Kalen. So I guess you're into rigging if your name's Climber. We're literally talking about cleaning curved high-rise building windows, and we've got someone in chat that does it. That's how you know you've made it, champions. That is fantastic. Fill us in on what you do. That seems like a really cool job, but I guess like any job, it'll have its ups and downs. Literally. Yitzy, how you going, legend? What's happening? I have those shitty inserts on modular office furniture and cubicles that I break while trying to rescue them too many times. Yeah, well, those ones that you saw, they're like pot metal shit. The ones I use are machine steel, so they're good. Yeah, it's chill. Cool. That would be chill. It wouldn't really suit me because I'm a redhead, so I get sunburnt. But because not only are you copping it on the back of your head, but you're copping the reflection off of glass as well. It would be like being in a tanning salon, I guess. Hey. All right, let's put a little detail. This is me getting a bit pedantic, but let's put a line. Let's put a vertical line here. We could even make it invisible. Fuck off. 3D data, edge. Done. We'll go from there to there. And there to there. Just to show that it's 45 degrees. Move that in a little. So then on our plot page, it looks a bit busy, doesn't it? Let's round that down again. Let's move it. That looks a bit nicer, doesn't it? Just trying to make it look as non-crowded as possible. Good money, just slow as hell for work. Is this going to be sold with amp or cab only? It's not going to be sold at all. It's going to be public domain. I'll give you the link now. I just put them up, champions, because I enjoy keeping my hand in drawing stuff and doing joinery, and I like to see people build things. So I don't know if you guys have seen my website. Here's my website. Brad's Guitar Garage. I wish I should have made a logo bigger. I've got to change the template. It's a bit just sort of plop there, and it is what it is. But yeah, you can buy stuff here and whatever, blah, 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 blah. Strings, bloody hi-fi shit. There's not a lot of stuff, but it's all stuff that's actually in the shop. Got Maxon pedals, etc. But down here on the home page, very fast website. I do like that about it. Cabinet plans, and here they are. So I've got a Princeton reverb style with a 10-inch speaker. I was going to do a 12-incher as well. It's a 5A3 with a 12-inch, 5F1 in a 12-inch cab, which is kind of fun, but a little bit pointless in my opinion, but people like it. And an 18-watt Marshall. So I'm going to do a deluxe reverb after these, but I'm doing the Champ in the multi-purpose one, which could be used for a 10-inch Champ or a Princeton or Harvard, which would be good. Anyway, you can jump there, just press a button and you download it, mate. 2 pages each. It's just showing a preview here. Figured out how to make the actual image a hyperlink as well. So you click the image for the one you want to download, and it's all yours. You can build fun things. I've just made them all to build out of just shit you can get at the hardware. Like it's just 9mm ply and 19mm solid pine. That's all you need, plus the covering shit and whatever. Tweed or whatever you want to use. I saw 2 guys working on rope rigging in St. Petersburg and every health and safety alarm. No harnesses. One was swinging, the other to reach. Yeah. I have to swing side to side all the time. Nothing too crazy there, but not harnessed is beyond sketch. Yeah, not too. They're probably drunk too, Paul. Do you have a download counter to see what is popular? No, I don't know that the website even has that functionality. Don't really care. They're out there. So a Harvard would be nice. Sean, this, I believe, this one here could be used for a Harvard. So at the moment, I've got that 5F1 cut out if you want a 10-inch Champ. This is to suit a ceramic driver. You can see that's the overall dimensions of most ceramic drivers. I'm going off the WGS ET10, which is a 65-watt driver, which is a bit of overkill. So anything smaller than that, you can have a smaller magnet anyway, but it's made to suit that. But for Alnico's, we got this one, which is slightly taller and slightly deeper, and she just misses the valve there. So that's a Celestion G10 with a big bell housing on there. If you get one of the Webers that doesn't have the bell housing, or if you remove the bell housing off these, which you can do, you just got to remove the sticker first, which sucks because you destroy it in the process. You can take it off. You have a bit more clearance, but it will work with the bell housing on as well. And the 10 inches that have this kind of Alnico on the back without the bell housing will fit easy, because they're a slightly shallower basket too. The Celestion Gold series, or that whole Alnico series, they've got a really deep basket. It's not your average sort of setup. So that will work for that, but I've tried to make it very clear. In this one, I'm just going through and detailing everything. If you've come in late, anyone. All right, so let's show the box joint fingers. So for that, we'll change the decimal places in the dimensioning to 1 decimal place, just to show that it's a 1/2 inch. Show that they're 19mm deep. I wish you could move text there. You got to press a button. Same here. Pretty obvious, but just for the sake of uniformity. I want to show the center of these holes. .35. .160. I guess we could go move that down further. Let's go to bottom dimensioning. Oh, that's always annoying. Decimal place. It's only a handle, plus minus 5mm, still fine. So let's set them to, well, if you set it, the problem is if you set them to 0 decimal place, then they're going to add up dimensions and go, oh, it doesn't even add up to the whole measurement of the panel, or it's a mil over or something. So sometimes it's just easier. I've got to remember that I'm not dealing with architects now though, so. Let's delete these ones and put them on the outside, because I'm getting a bit OCD now. So at the front, this isn't 12.7 and this isn't 12.7. Oh, it's close enough, isn't it? 12.8. But yeah, it's slightly different setback. So I think the theory was this is one full cut, but then this one has to be slightly different. Look at the section and it makes sense. I'm in the market for a cab for an amp. I'm about to start on. I'll check them out. Yeah, I haven't got any just speaker cabinet drawings yet. Everything's either a head or a combo, but it'll come. Problem with combos is speaker cabinets is you got to kind of know the size of the head that's going on it to be able to make it. You can make a really nice little compact head, but combo. God, you can make a really nice little compact speaker cabinet, but you put a head on it that's a little wider and it's overhanging the ends and it looks shit. But you want to make your cabs kind of compact for portability, don't you? You got a Carbon X100B. Those things are awesome. Fucking heavy though, from memory. Right. Now here, I don't want to show the vertical measurement because it's not relevant. Kind of is because it's rounded off. But if you were to say you were to be at one decimal point, decimal point. Oh, what is wrong with me today? What number of decimals? .02. Really? Thought it would be more than that. But anyway, point being, it's not exactly 9 mil. Because we want to measure the edge to edge. That's annoying because it looks like a 6. And I don't think you can rotate the text on this. Literally not as good as KiCad, which is free. Now, well, let's just go vertical. You get the idea. You know what I should do? I'll put those measurements at whatever edge you're supposed to start on. Yeah. Sorry, champions. I'm figuring out how I'm going to standardize all the dimensioning across all the drawings just to make everything uniform because it matters. If I go like that, it becomes clear that you line up your 12.7 at the back. And then your 18.2 is just, that's just the last one you cut. Your jig would have another finger there, but just don't cut there. Pedal makers think they can emulate Jimmy Page high watt at Royal Albert Hall concert. Sure they can, and slap a high watt on a breadboard and rock out to it melting. Yeah, so you're saying that they think they can just simulate all these things in a pedal? The most amp distortion-like sounding pedal I think I've ever used was the Friedman BEOD. He really nailed it on that one. So okay, now we need to measure that one. It's a bit tricky really because I've got to show this measurement here, which I can go by doing parallel there to there. Dimension points, 45. Yeah, sweet. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, that one. Because, yeah, the dimensioning wants to be in the X or Y axis. King tone pedals go on the shit list. I can't remember what they look like. Now, let me have a look. Okay, I've never seen one of them. I've never heard of them. Are they just another startup? Pedal guys, man, they come and go like fucking... King tone. Well, they're very humble too. You can... I don't know. Pedals, whatever. Who cares? Anyway, I'm getting sick of dimensioning. So let's have a bit of a rant. Yeatsy, you still there, brother? King of the knockoffs, yeah. Of course, we have no proof until we see the unit, but then they goop them anyway, don't they? Well, some of the boutique guys do it anyway. Let's put the 19 down here just to make it clear that that's the set in there. Of course, that will change with material thickness, but everything will change with material thickness there. I think Yeetsy's gone. No, he's in you, Dad. You can understand. Probably dying of sleep deprivation. Hats off and deep bow respect for all the high-rise window washers. I've had to use their hanging scaffold baskets to service signage and architecture. I always also use the bosun's chairs. What's a bosun's chair? I guess that's a just chair that you lift up and down. The BEAD sounded great as an overdrive amp sound, but it started off dirty from the outset as opposed to being a clean amp going dirty. Yeah, I think that's kind of required though, Paul, because like, if you've got an amp that is really overdrive monster, that's the reason we've got multiple channels, and it's the reason no one really raves about, the super lead clean sound. Because you've got to shape the EQ to make it overdrive gracefully. And if you don't, it doesn't overdrive gracefully. So it's kind of a good idea to have multiple channels. And I guess that's why it's a pedal, so you can turn it off. And that's your clean tone. Yeah, it does break up. I can't remember how much I got it to clean. I've been making the Tempests from Aeon for fun, just like for myself. And I think it cleaned up from memory. But yeah, the settings, like when you change the tight setting, it sounds really good turned up for overdrive. But then if you back off the gain and turn the tight down, it sounds a bit fuller for cleaner tones. The dualist pedal, to remove it and replace it, switchings requires removing a bunch of hardline jumpers and getting into the case is a complete nightmare. Yeah, they never think about repair, mate. The programmer Roland MC303, is there a reason you're just stating random facts? Impulse response is a frequency picture taken from an amp that yeah, we know. So, was someone talking about that? Oh, hang on. Yeah, you mentioned it earlier. Sorry. I just missed your comment because it scrolled automatically. I don't use stage of boom lifts, 2 ropes, chair, safety catch. We're getting into the rigging now. Where's the lane when we need to talk about rigging? Love the super lead clean sound, but I understand what you mean. Yeah. It can be a bit thin, a bit brittle. What's a good reverb pedal? If it's even a thing, I get lost in the search. Hate 47 knobs. I used to recommend the Hall of Fame, but now Behringer own them. There's lots of good reverb pedals out there if you want to go Strymon stuff, but it's pretty expensive. Don't know. 6 probably can chime in there. He's a bit more across the pedal stuff than I am. I sort of only know about stuff that I fix, and I tend to be too expensive for pedal repairs. So good improvement would be to have the amp schematic printed on the removable back panel. Are you talking about for these? Because I don't know what amp you're going to put in it. Because wastewood rockers. Do you make guitars out of waste wood? Bath time reverb. No sleep till bath time. So I think that's all dimensioning. Oh, we'll do these. Oh, you know what I've got to do? Move these. Solid. Move. I can't see what I've selected because the selection color is the same as the point color. See, it goes orange. These are supposed to be on the front cleats. Take these over here. And they're supposed to be 69, believe it or not, from the ends. It's supposed to be 15 mil from the edge from memory. I'll check that on the section. Oh, you fucker. I've never heard a pedal that simulates the splat that you get from a spring reverb accurately. I do a lot of surf rock stuff, so I kind of need that. 44. Have a look on the actual model because I've misremembered something here. $56.5, really? $57.14, really? All right, I'll fix it. Fine. See, this is stuff that I miss. So, I don't know. I think it was 69 in. 69. I think I did that just because it was funny. What have I got on this? Hang on. Got 50 mil. That'll be, yeah, 50 on the baffle. So it'd be 69. Yeah, because it's 19 mil side and plus, well, 20 mil minus 1. So that's right, yeah. So 50 mil on the baffle. So there's a baffle line there. A lot of this is actually knowing what lines you're looking at when you change stuff to see-through too. So that should be 50 there. Yeah. So it should be... that. I think when I've shrunk the cabinet, I've taken it out of that side, but that should be 50 again. I got to extend it. Select all the parts we need to. We'll do it into operations. Minus 50. Extend. Last set. It's all about consistency, champions. Minus 50. We'll have to change that on the drawing here. Minus 50. So yeah, it takes forever, but it's important to have consistency. Topanga is not bad. What is the word Topanga? Is that a town or something? Is it... Jerry, sorry I'm late. Did I miss the $10,000 recording studio giveaway? No. Electro-harmonics Holy Grail. EQD reverbs are always good. Okay. I'll just build a Fender reverb unit. 6G, what is it? 6G18 or whatever it is. 6G15. I forget the code. So if we look now, that's the front, minus 69. If we look at the actual cabinet from the outside to that hole, 71. Oh, because we've got our 2mm gap. Okay. All right, 71. See, it's just one cabinet, but imagine what a whole kitchen takes. You're talking like a week to get to revision 1 for a large complex kitchen. You can bang out like IKEA shit in 20 minutes, but oh, so that one's off. Okay, so is that off on the drawing as well? How'd that happen? Consistency. See the figures that you get? Just randomly it chose 65.76303. Like, where the fuck did it pull that from? I probably just moved it with corrupted data. That's what often happens in Python, and you only find out later when it's too late and it's already gone to the CNC. This is why it was a very stressful job. The software would fuck you over all the time, all the time. It's only when you dimensioned it that you realised it was wrong. But sometimes if you don't dimension a part, it just goes to the CNC and you've just wasted $5 grand. Some of the materials like the Corian and the Aluka bond and that, it was expensive stuff. Well, the worst is when you had a whole set of matched veneer sheets and you had to cut them perfectly and no room for error, because if you fucked up once, you've got to throw out like 10 sheets of board that are custom laid up with like ebony. Super high pressure. It was very, very, very stressful. That's why I'm glad I'm not in it anymore. We did the high rollers room in Star City Casino, and they had these cupboards that when the rich fucks would turn up, they'd give them their bottle of cognac and say, hold on to this, it's worth $50,000. They'd have a special case for them that was all numbered with their room number. And, you know, the receptionist or whatever, oh, thank you, sir, and put their $10,000, $50,000 cognac bottle in their special little safe. And that whole wall was matched marble slabs that were cut into doors. And then it had their little numbers on them. We had a water jet cut a whole slab of marble into these little doors, and one of them broke in the process because it's natural stone. It's got natural fissures going through it, not fish, fissures going through it. So they had to like resin it back together and ended up slightly undersized after, so they had to trim the others to suit and widen the gaps up by 0.5 mil. A nightmare. Also, rich fucks could put their cognac in a marble wall when they got to the casino. Honestly, the amount of resources and time that's wasted on rich people. $7.4, really? Okay. No, fuck off. People are going to whinge with decimal places in millimeter measurements, so I'll just go 0. What's 0.4 of a mil between mates, eh? But more importantly, because of the angle of the cabinet, they're not equal. 7 and 9. So that one will be a threaded insert as well. Or you could just have a bolt going all the way through. I prefer the threaded insert, but you know, if you want to go traditional style, you can put a bolt on the inside a nut on the inside. So I might leave that up to the legend building it. Oh yeah, I had to come along behind the cabinet guys and add electrical. Talk about a nightmare. It was a finished product, and I have to cut stuff into it after it's installed. Well, that means the cabinet maker that you're dealing with was a bit of a shithead, because I used to liaise with the electricians and send them shop drawings and say, where do you want cutouts and what size do you want them? Where do you need cable access? Do you need us to route slots somewhere for cables to go? This whole attitude between tradespeople of, oh, it's not my fucking job, you can fucking figure it out. That bitter attitude often comes from them not charging enough for the job and then being bitter about it later, even though they're the one that set the price. And you get that in this repair industry too. Like you get, oh, I'm not replacing a fret. I fucking didn't charge for that. Well, you should have. You should have quoted. You should have told them the whole story instead of just estimating on the spot, having not even seen the fucking thing. So that's how you get a bad reputation. So I used to liaise with the electricians and ask them where they needed cables. Were they high voltage? Were they low voltage? You know, do you need a mains cut out somewhere? Do you need to put a, you know, do you need to hide a transformer somewhere? We can put a little gap with an air ventilation slot, you know, that kind of thing. They love me for it. Lowest bidders. Yeah, it's always I. You get what you pay for. I got no sympathy for people that whinge about their house bill going downhill when they get the cheapest fucking tradies they can. Sucked in. I won't give them a whole diameter for them, actually, because I'll let them decide how they want to do it. I've given so much info. It doesn't matter how much info you give. If there's someone will go, oh, what about this? And go, I don't know, figure it out. You could give them every dimension, every single edge. You miss one, and they're like, what's that one? What's that one there? What's the fucking same as that? Oh, you didn't say anything. All right, I'm happy with that. So let's go on to dimensioning the section. So we want to go, what scale were we for that one again? That was 1 to 2 or something, wasn't it? Yeah, 1 to 2. So we want to change the scale so we match 1 to 2. Now we can show things like the allowance for the Tweed, because we've got that that much room with the 1 to 2 scale, that our dimensions look tiny in comparison to the model. But when we go to print, everything's there, right? Perfect. No ambiguity at all. What's my opinion on high watt amps? T series, dog shit. G series, dog shit. The real one's good. Very overpriced for what they are. Sometimes their lead dress isn't ideal, even though it looks pretty and everyone thinks it's ideal because it looks pretty. They're extremely loud. They sound fantastic when they're cranked, but people don't realize this. They buy it for their bedroom and they realize that there's no master volume. So they buy an attenuator, run the thing cranked into it, and then burn output valves. I've never been a trade person, but that sounds a lot like working in a hospital. There are people who won't liaise with the other workers who make everyone's life a misery, especially the poor patient. Yeah, they do it as a point of contention, eh? They're like, no, you should have done it, as a way to just be a fucking massive cunt. It's the reason that they have a shit lot in life is because of that attitude. It's cause and effect. They've got a shit attitude because of their shit life. And they've got a shit life because of their shit attitude. Change the attitude and everything else will change. I've worked with a few Aussies in my travels, usually always great guys. Once in a while, cabinet trim carpenters would come in and confer on critical dimensions, electrical. Yeah, you often have to, man. I mean, like, say you've got a stud and you've got electrical coming out one side of the stud. You put a cabinet there. The cabinet's got a join, like 2 cabinets join right on the stud. and now your electrical's supposed to be in the other cabinet. What are you going to do? Run a conduit through the cabinet? No one will cop that. They'll go off at you. They're still being hand built. The programmer in Roland MC303. They're still being hand built. We have to be 100% spot on the walls or ceiling so everything matches 100% with the cabinet work. Yeah, you really tell when you go into the architectural stuff, there's just an instant massive step up in quality of everything. And you can just tell. They're still fuck ups, but they fix them. That's the difference. All right, let's show the cabinet, the chassis dimensions. Chassis dimensions. That looks a bit messy. Let's go. How are we going to do this? I'll show the valve. 90 mil. Well, I think the depth's irrelevant because the speaker clears it. I'll show the chassis dimensions because that'll confirm if they're getting a third party one. Just make it this size. 64, is that right? Got this little choocher. More like 67. We've got another 4 mil. 68. The center of this should be 32. 30. Is that right? $2 mil. And that gives us about 7 or 8 mil clearance. It's a weird number because of the angle. Anyway, you're probably getting bored of this, so I'll save that one and then we'll go on a little rant town. So, everyone is raving about the new Gibson amp. And I've got a gut shot. You've probably seen it by now. There it is. So my first obvious thing is hand wired in Petaluma, California. Does that look fucking hand wired to you? What's hand wired? The pots. Really? It's obviously a Messer. Everyone knows Gibson bought the Messer brand. You can see Messer branded valves in there. That's not wired. That's quick connects. All you've done is run like. Why have you got a switch there with a PCB? It's because this was probably pan inserted. It could have been hand inserted. And they're all snap off sections of board. So all of these wires would have been soldered to the board and then they just snap it off and snap one off. That's how they produce amplifiers at Messer Boogie. They snap one off. So yeah, obviously it's a Messer Boogie. It's got all the same dumb shit that Messer Boogie do. You got just randomly, they've just put carbon comps all over the place for just things like heater balance, which is dumb. You got board mounted valve sockets with no spring retainers. They probably have that stupid foam neoprene shit that holds the valves in on the other side that eventually wears through and can break the nipple off a valve. They've got the same stupid, almost non-existent solder pads that if you do any rework, they just slide straight out of the board, and you got to run wires and shit or drill it out and put turrets in. They've got a regulator there probably for the relay supply that's got no heat sink, and it is mounted right up against a capacitor which is sensitive to temperature. They probably only use 85 degree rated caps, do they? There's the C. Can we extrapolate from that what temperature rating they are? Not really. Is that an 05? That might be. There might be 105 rated, but you don't put regulators. Well, for starters, use a heat sink, yeah. And you don't make it hug a fucking capacitor, do you? Just basic shit that they've never gotten right ever, and they never will. You got ground planes, which is cool. Have we got margins? Where's the plate resistors? Looks like probably not great margins there for the high voltage. You can see they've got a bit more separation here than elsewhere, but that is, I don't know, is that a bypass cap? Speaking of bypass caps, they're still using tantalums everywhere that love to go short circuit as the bypass caps. They love tantalums. I don't know why. They fail all the time and burn. But then it looks like for some of the larger values they have used electrolytics. So I don't know. It's a hodgepodge. But really, this looks like a budget amplifier. It looks like a cheap piece of shit from PV or something. And $5,500, $5,500 in Australia. That brings me to the next point. It retails for, I think it was $1,800 or $1,790 or something in the States. Whatever it was, I did the calculation and it worked out to about $2,700 Australian. So they are charging like 100% margin just to get them to Australia. So you're paying double getting these in Australia. Is that the importer just being greedy fucks, or is that Mesa hating Australians? Either way, it's shit. But just don't buy one because they're fucked anyway. It should be $1,000 amp. Yeah, that's right. Dustin, if I was to make this as one of my models, I'd probably charge $2,500 as a one-off, and that's if I'd produced the boards and everything and had them in stock. Pathetic. Yeah. But anyway, buy one if you want to. But yeah, buy whatever you want. I don't care. So you got the output section up here. You got the output transformer right near the input with all its high voltages right here, and this is literally your grids. What the fuck? So hang on, where's your? All right. Oh, hang on. No. That's just your voltage supply. Here's the output plates connected here. So you've got your connection to the outputs. That'll be a phase inverter. You got your ribbon cable down here. That looks like that's the ribbon cable there. You just seen the edge of it. It probably comes up, connects here somewhere. You got the reverb, send and return right next to the plate connections. I reckon I can make this thing oscillate in its stock form pretty easily just with settings. At least they got a ground connection this time. The chassis earth connection without a ground lift switch that lifts the chassis safety ground like they had on the V-twin things. They got these fancy switches there that they got in the Santana model as well. Fancy. So, you know, buy one if you want, but I wouldn't buy one if you don't have massive amounts of disposable income. So up here, it looks like they've got two supplies. Same old shit. You just got chuck your diodes up there, chuck your regulator here, chuck your caps there. Looks like they got some local filtering there, which is not a bad move. But yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't buy one. Tube guide. Oh, you can use 6v6 or 6L6. Okay, so how do you change the bias? You can't. I have to look up the manual, but as far as I can tell, that, you know what? They probably have it biased so cold like all the other messes that it doesn't matter if you put 6v6 or 6L6 in there because they're barely switched on. They're barely conducting because they're biased at like 5% or something. Anyway, it's just beyond a joke now. I don't know. It's never going to change. It's just going to be shit forever. Whatever. We don't care, do we? Because we're not going to buy one. Yeah, that's a look up the skirt. Tell us what you think about that. I use tantalum caps in my wah pedals for the 4 microfarad cap. A wah pedal is not a tube amp. Yeah. Generally, you only want to use tantalums in regulated supplies that will not be able to see spikes. So if you're going to use tantalums, only use them if you've got a regulated supply in everything that's attached to that tantalum. One of these valves fails internally and over dissipates. It shorts that out. Then you put another valve in there, and now you don't have a cathode resistor, that one there, which for some reason, inexplicably, they've just used a carbon comp. Now you've got a, oh no, hang on. No, that must be it. Is that 100K? Yeah. Is that a cathode follower? I don't know. I don't know what circuit they copied. But yeah, then that'd be short circuit from that point forward, and they burn. So you see them in computers and synths and stuff, and they're fine, but they've all got regulated supplies, and there's no high voltage present. That's the rant. I want my money back. Well, you've already got it, Jim, because it's free. But yeah, that's what fucking almost $6,000 gets you. I'd rather a dirt bike, to be honest. I could get a pretty good one for that. Just insane. Who is buying these things? And the you know what? The Santana version doesn't look that different. It looks about the same as this. Fuck all in it, and it's like $12,000 because the drugged up weirdo fucking signed the inside of it. Who gives a shit? He's still alive. Anyway, what do you do? One of my customers got one for, I don't know, like $7,000. It was like that was a steal. He'll probably make double that on it because people just spend ungodly amounts of money on these things. I no idea why. Anyway, what's going on in the comments? Top secret squirrel stuff. Nah, pictures are public now. Someone's taken the back cover off it. If they made a better quality PCB, what would a reasonable price be? I mean, if the circuit was good and the construction was good, which it isn't, I don't know. Like the cabinets are nice. They're birch ply and everything. It's a good speaker. I'd probably say like up to the, say, 3, maybe 3.5 if everything was done really well. I'd see that as reasonable if you were doing them. Like, I mean, I don't think for a company that is producing them en masse that they couldn't get under that point. Basically, look at Friedman's and how they're built and their price point. To me, that's reasonable. For what you're getting, it's really worthwhile. Friedman's kind of the standard for price versus quality versus, you know, feature set. I think that's my opinion anyway. Cold bias, blocking distortion crap. Yeah, Scotty. Hand wired must means they hooked up those spade terminals by hand. Yeah, I was going to make a meme showing an IEC connector. IEC chassis connector. I wanted to show one wide up. Come on, images. Google images. See, this is where AI will come in handy. It'd be completely wrong. But anyway, I was just going to take a photo of a chassis showing the inside of one with the wires going to it and just write hand wired in Petaluma, California. They wired up the fucking mains connection, which everyone does. Well, not everyone. Some are board mounted as well, but that'd make a pretty funny meme. I don't have time for that shit though. So yeah, I'd rather get a used Fender Silverface and modify. Yeah, just restore a Silverface Fender. They would be very reliable once done. Yeah, the gut shots are pretty well everywhere now. The ferrite beads show continuity on a board. They have low resistance. It's confusing to diagnose them. Ferrite bead itself, or do you mean the wire going through it? Yeah, it's just a bead around a bit of wire. It would give 0 ohms because you're measuring at DC. If you were to measure it at 10 megahertz, it'd be a different story. So anyway, just thought you might be interested in that. What else is going on in the public sphere? Guitar-wise, who cares? Silverfaces will soon be $1,000 plus amps. What? Jim, what country are you in? I guess you're in the US. Let's start a new private window. We'll go to eBay, just so it doesn't recognize my account and feed me things like dildos that I've been searching for recently, that kind of thing. Silver face reverb. $3,000, 1973. That's Japan. Fender. Let's just write Fender. Silverface Fender. Musical instruments. Hello. Guitar amplifiers. Let's set it to Australia. And there are none. So there you go. Yeah, anyway, the Silverfaces in either stock form, never serviced, or badly modified, are like $3,000 plus here now. So yeah, the days of cheap Silverfaces are over. Yeah, well, yeah, the twins are the Princeton's and deluxe reverb's gone through the roof because everyone wants one because they're lightweight. The twins are sitting around the $2,000 mark. No basement heads. Yeah, they're 2,000 plus here, but yeah, it's Australian dollars. Sorry. I've seen the bigger models, mid to late 70s, going for cheap. Yeah, the big twins and the big Super 6s. For some reason, the super reverbs are really sought after. I think the country guys love them. But yeah, as the stock of amps worth owning depletes, people will start to realise the Silverfaces, particularly after they watch videos from Lyle or myself or others, start to realise they can be world-class amps. Yeatsy had a few as well. You guys follow Yeatsy? Check him out. I'll just see if his link here. Hang on. You guys know about Dr. Gear too, eh? There he is. Check him out. He's getting into amp repair. He's the first to admit he's still got a lot to learn, but good channel. Seeing him figure stuff out along the way. And he's an amazing player. He's coming from a playing background rather than a tech background like Lyle and myself. Twins are getting cheap. Princeton's are going up. Yeah. Princeton's, mate. They fucking rule. They're awesome. Deluxe reverbs too. Deluxe reverbs, in my opinion, break up a bit nicer than a stock Princeton. It's all in the phase inverter grid stopper and reducing the bypassing the first stage. And they'll break up a lot more gracefully. Still not quite as smoothly and gnarly as a long tail pair phase inverter, but I'd like to make something in a 10-inch cabinet with the champ type control panel, so just volume, or maybe like a Harvard style, but with a long tail pair phase inverter, and then 2 stages feeding into that, and 2 6v6s in solid state rectified fixed bias with feedback. So basically a clean Tweed combo that breaks up nicely when you push it. And maybe a built-in attenuator with chassis mounted resistors. Anyway, got enough projects how it is. Watching news yesterday, seems electronics companies are leaving China en masse, just closing their doors, gone. What country will be a new crappy manufacturer for Fender Gibson? Well, Marshall's already using Vietnam, and they're not bad, to be honest. Well, yeah, I don't know. A lot of the problems with Marshalls aren't the construction quality, it's the design techniques. I have a relatively untouched 77 Silverface twin, even stock. They sound pretty good in my opinion. Yeah. Is that the Master Volume 1 that you got there, Wasteful Rockers? If that is the case, remove the... If it's got the bright cap across the Master, remove that and things will smooth out quite a lot too. There's a lot of stuff you can do to them for not much money. The biggest problem with them is just the wax on the board and having to restore them and recap them. And the biggest enemy against Silverface amps is other techs. Unfortunately, they love to destroy them and hack them up and melt wiring. Design techniques I'm referring to is like the circuit boards, the pots they use. So like the assembly is not bad, but mainly just the boards are a bit flimsy. And the Marshall, what am I trying to think of? The Origin 20 and the DSL 20, where they run the valves at like, it's a cathode biased amp from memory, and they ran them at like, I don't know, like 30% or something. It's like all these amp manufacturers, they seem to either run the valves way too hot or way too cold. It's very rare that you get a stock amp coming in and it's optimally biased by design, or it's even biasable if it's adjustable. I think the DSL 40, they got it within range and it was good. But the 20s, for some reason, the 20 watt and the Studio Series, everything's just biased super cold. Don't know why. Because it's like the bias setting is for higher voltage, and then they've got the EL34s running at like 200 volts. So, of course, it's got to have some massive current there to get the power back up. So it's actually, anyway, I've got videos on the DSL 20, I think, Climber. Just search my channel, search Lyle's as well. I think he refuses them now because they're sort of below budget. But before he did that, he's got some videos where he rips into them. Recorded a Music Master bass amp, fun guitar amp, even if ultralinear. Oh, there's nothing wrong with ultralinear, Alan. It's mainly the problem with ultralinear was that the amps around that time just had shit preamp design. It wasn't the ultralinear output stage that was to blame. I know that the reissues aren't as good as having watched Lyle and Brad, but I was chuffed when I got a deluxe reverb. So you got a deluxe reverb reissue there, Paul. Yeah, they're good amps. Yeah. If people want that sound, I recommend them. Probably stay away from the 68. Is it 68? Whatever the one with the link channels is, because they did that in a fucking stupid way. You wouldn't know that they actually were the company that developed the first one, the way they did it. It was really noisy and yeah. Yeah, master volume model. Yeah, well, across that master volume is a bright cap. You'll see a capacitor just hanging off the back of that pot. You can literally just snip that out. See how you go. 68 custom. Ooh, Who ran through how to fix that? I think that was Lyle. I think he goes into some great detail on his page of what they did. I think he even pulls out a schematic. Yeah, 68's prone to mega noise issues, but it's easily resolvable. If you're not confident to do it yourself, you could take it to a good tech and they could do it for you. I'm sure they probably already know what it is. It's not a good idea to take stuff to a tech and say, here's a video, do that. They'll be like, fuck you. Oh, yeah. You could do a good rant on the pull for volume boost. Yeah, it was weird how they did it, eh? What was the other one where they did it? The Super Twin, the 180 watt thing with the friggin' 6 output valves. They used like the reverb, something. I can't remember how they did it, but they used the triode in the reverb recovery stage as like another gain stage, and it sounded fucking terrible. Oh, Michael's trying to fix his amp with a shallowly veiled question. What's your process for chasing down a loss in volume where all the obvious things don't seem to be an issue? Running into issues with the silver face Princeton non-reverb. Get your scope out, bro. Check all your voltages. Can you tell me honestly that you checked all your voltages and you know what you should be expecting? Whether things are in range? Because if you haven't done that, you haven't done the obvious things. Just sucks to spend that much time to have to reverse a few engineering oversights. Yeah, it does a bit. Running about half to 2/3 of normal volume. Well, first you want to confirm that with a dummy load and a scope and check your actual output power to know for sure. Because could be a psychological thing, and it could also be your speaker. It could be anything, man. Check all your voltages first, and then go from there. Voltages are good, okay. So you're gonna have to get your scope out and find out where it's taken a dive. If it's a Princeton non-reverb, Silverface Princeton non-reverb, there's the possibility that it might have tin whiskers in the pot casings as well. So clean them and blast them with compressed air. That can cause that. What else could you have? If all your voltages are right. Obviously, just check your valves, like sub in some known good preamp valves. Silver panel twin cranked. Is that how he did that tone? So there's not a lot to go wrong in that amp, Michael. So, you know, it's about figuring out what stage is attenuating it and going from there. Could be the speaker jack. Could be the shorting jack. Yeah. If you got the two speaker jacks on the output, could be an output transformer. Could be a lot of things. So you got to narrow it down with measurements. I think Rob Robinette's got a good troubleshooting. Guide for valve amp stuff. So read through that. Save me typing it all out again. Audio sounds weak, bad, or drops out completely. There you go. Bad solder joints is a possibility, yeah. Cone rub. Disconnected output, conductive circuit boards. Yeah, it could be that your board's conductive and it's leading one of the stages to be biased too bad. Does it have any original electrolytic caps? So I kind of assumed it's been recapped, but said caps are good. What does that mean? Again, this is like where we end up going back and forth and trying to find more info, but you know, if you just read that guide, go through that. Had a Champ 2 in with fed up pots that needed to be blasted out with paint thinner. Fucking hell, Seth. Run through a paint pot. What? And compressed air run through a paint pot. So you use like pressurized solvent. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, Lyle's been lurking. Everyone hope he gets better. Oh, hang on, I didn't press send. Fuck. Here we go. Try that. Fuck, it's almost time for a beer. It's 1 p.m. Long weekend. Woo! I got to get out in the garage and start cutting shit. So yesterday it was hot and windy, so I couldn't spray paint. Today is cold and rainy, so I can't spray paint. So I think I'll finish these drawings and then I'll build the 10-inch one as a maybe a video guide. Maybe not. And also maybe if I do videos on it, I'll do a video on the tweeding process, and everyone can tell me I'm wrong and I don't know what I'm talking about every time I put up a tutorial video. I don't know why I do it, to be honest. So I might piss off legends. And yeah, go make a coffee, get to work in the garage. So have a bloody good weekend, you legends. You haven't even hit it yet. We're on the second day of the weekend, 3-day weekend. So enjoy. I'll catch you around.